You don't know, we don't try.
Well, you want to keep it.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call the workshop to order. The date is August 5th, 2025. It's approximately 10:01 a.m. And
Is this a workshop or a meeting?
this is a workshop.
Okay, 'cause
It was
the
noticed,
agenda says it's a meeting.
it was noticed as a meeting.
It was noticed as a meeting.
It was.
The first part should have been a workshop,
That's right,
and
that's
the
right.
second part, okay, well, then this is a special meeting. We're gonna call a special meeting to order. That's an easy fix, guys.
That's why we permitted them.
Mayor, I think we can workshop in a meeting, but
We can't.
meeting.
We can't
In a
meet in a
workshop.
workshop, exactly. So we're gonna meet.
I think we should just adjourn right now, go home, and make another date.
Okay. With that, I have called this special meeting to order. It's August 5th, 2025. It is now approximately 10:02. And we are going to start with our invocation. Commissioner Moore, if you would please lead us in invocation, stand if you are able.
Let's start here. Dear Heavenly Father, once again, we want to thank you for our rising on this morning. We thank you for this brand new day. We thank you for this day that you have created, and we give you praise. We ask that you be with us today. Once again, we ask that you help us to agree and disagree in unity and in love, knowing that all of us want to read all the time, but we will get things done. And Father God, look upon our families, look upon us, and help us, Lord Jesus, do those things that are pleasing in your sight. And we'll forever praise you and give you the highest praise. All these blessings we do ask. In that son Jesus' name. Amen.
Okay, the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Moore, thank you again. And Madam Clerk, if you do a roll call for us, please.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Lisa King DeVito,
Present.
Commissioner William B.J. Laurie,
President.
Commissioner Linda Moore,
Here.
Commissioner Cynthia Burton,
Here.
City Manager Derek Martin,
Here.
Assistant City Manager Christina Marie,
Present.
Finance Director Steve Conklin.
Here.
Mayor Myers.
Present. Thank
Good
you.
morning.
Good morning.
Good
Thank you,
morning.
everyone, for being here this morning. With that, let's go ahead and kick this off. We're gonna start with our Better Place plan.
Mayor, if I could ask for the commission to just at the front end, take a look at these letters and have a quick discussion on that and put that to bed before we get into deep numbers, if
Okay,
that's okay.
Commission, if that's your pleasure.
It is staff's recommendation to go with the letter that's more simplified and not too deep in the weeds, only because we don't want issues with residents getting confused. We want to try to stay very top level. And so these two are provided for you all to decide. and maybe there's some mix and match of information you wanna add, and we can do that easily.
Yeah, could I add to that, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, so, my draft is the one that's more detailed on the left. What the staff has provided is more what I had in mind. I did not get started on this as early as I wanted, and I like the staff's better. My computer was down all weekend. The only thing I would add to the staff letter, as the city manager said, mix and match, at the top, the salutation where it says dear residents, maybe we should put dear residents and taxpayers because not all taxpayers are residents.
Or property owners.
Right, property owners, that covers it, I think that's,
Yeah, property owners.
yeah, that's what I have, yeah, property owners, so that we've addressed everyone. And then it might be helpful as a separate schedule, if it's printed, we can put it on the back. If it is on our website or on our Facebook page, to put the budget meeting schedule, the approximate date that the trim notices are gonna come out, and, something friendly, like, the property appraiser will provide trim notices, and then, we could provide more emails, underneath that. But I like the staff letter, it's exactly what I thought.
May I say something? If somebody wants to get hold of me, my email is in the directory right here at Crescent City. I don't think you need to put that on a letter.
Okay.
And as far as trim notices go, we all get one in the mail. I don't know if we have to put a date for when these things will come out. It's up to y'all, but basically, most people aren't paying too much attention to the backside of a letter necessarily. And, they'll get their trim notice and that's when they'll start to holler. So that's the way I look at it.
I do think it would be helpful to have the meeting schedules for the dates that we're adopting in the budget so that they know when they can come and speak out.
So- Yeah, and Commissioner DeVito's is in her fourth paragraph down, it says 2 hearings will be held in Crescent City on the budget. I think if you just put that sentence in there, that we could include that possibly, we are approaching this year's budget process, with a strong commitment, and after that paragraph, your 4th paragraph down in the staff letter.
But Mayor, the only downside I see to that is staff letter is 1 page, lots of white space, easy to read.
Yeah.
And are we gonna jam that up too much?
Change it down a little bit of the font.
I would-
Yeah, and you can even do that in a smaller font, they can even make that as a note in a smaller font somewhere, even at the bottom, if you could even do that, come down to the very bottom and do it just in a smaller font, that one too.
We'll still circulate it to everybody once we get a final version to just get the green light before we get it together.
But I think that would take care of it, I agree, a lot of people aren't gonna turn it over and read it, and so,
And we're including these in the utility bill?
well, this is gonna go out on our website, I know, it's gonna go out, on Facebook, and then from a mailing standpoint, we would, when do our bills go out again? They don't go out again till the next month, till the end of.
Correct.
They're very.
But right away, it's gonna go on the website, right away.
We can put a stack of printed copies in utility billing in the lobby.
We can.
In here for next meeting.
To mail it out, that's gonna cost
What was it?
a lot.
First class mail now is 70.
Like 73 or 78,
75, yeah.
something like
I
that.
use the foreign stamp, so I don't know what they cost that.
Yeah.
But
It is.
And that's, for every parcel, if you did a printout of that, that would be, I can't even
Over $1,000.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
can we, for people who have signed up for alerts,
Right, we can put it
And
on.
it would automatically go out to that, I think, doesn't it, if we post something on the website?
That's what it is, yeah.
So it would automatically go out
And
to that.
that covers a lot of people.
I think that would cover, I think that would be,
Yeah.
at least it's out there, if somebody has a question, they'll ask.
Okay,
somebody, we've got it available.
so website, Facebook,
Okay. Okay, do we have a motion, do we have a motion on this to approve?
I move that we, approve the sending of the staff letter with the alterations that we, had mentioned, like including the budget hearing dates, and that it, and then to send it out,
and the salutation.
and the salutation.
Cover you. Okay,
Okay, do I have a second?
I will second that.
Okay, so we have a proper motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, so
Thank you.
now,
One thing done, I like that.
check.
If we could go ahead and move to our discretionary fund. Should be in your booklets, it should be the one page. Let me know when everybody is ready. Okay.
Okay, is there not and I apologize, I said last night not to, because but a breakdown, do we not have a breakdown improvement too? I know it says over there, but we know how much that's going to cost.
We can provide the breakdown, Mayor. What we ended up doing was we took the previous city manager's CIP and we made notes on the side. I apologize, we didn't include the actual breakdown. But the items that were not done, which we ended up purchasing, I believe, a piece of equipment and also set aside $10,000 for matching dollars on the New Moon Lodge. And so those items were taken into consideration. The rest of the items, such as the entryways to the city, the South Tower, the North Lake Stormwater Infrastructure Project, the aerator, sidewalks, those items we listed in the comments for each section, whether it was improvement to the infrastructure, we had paths, tree inventory, and raising the canopy. Yeah.
So the capital improvement, so if you look at your Crescent City, the capital improvement that we've been going off of, that's where I thought those costs, that they were broken down so that we kind of have an understanding. So if
Yes,
we need to back off some of those costs, then we could back that off, but.
Yes, ma'am.
The aerator structure was a multi-year project, and so it was several years in a row, they broke it up.
They did, 1720,
Right. So
17,200
is
a
that,
year.
was that actually in here? Or-
A piece of it was taken care of and taken out. Some of it got added back in. 17,000, I believe, is what was added back in.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that was,
I believe
Yeah.
it's 17,200 should be added back in.
Yes.
and we had discussed like the tree inventory and raised canopy thing, that was not eligible to be used, this money was not eligible to be used for that.
And I brought a copy with me, and I sent it, well, after 9 o'clock this morning to the city manager. I don't think, unless it's for trees in the parks and we qualify under a special section of the infrastructure tax statute, that we can use any of the Better Place Plan funds for tree maintenance.
That would be considered operational and wouldn't qualify.
I'm not really sure without digging deeper, but I know that there is a line item for parks improvement. So if the trees were specifically in parks, that might be what you were alluding to, but.
Well, no, okay. Mayor, may I ask
Do you
a
have
question?
yes.
Oh, you were gonna ask me something. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I am not clear exactly, what is being proposed in the Better Place Plan budget. Could we just walk through and see what have we spent so far this year? Can we identify that? This is the latest we have here today, actual May?
Yes.
Okay. So. Okay.
So we've only spent $32,000.
But wait a minute, mine says, Mine says 124,046, year-to-date actual May 2025.
No, that was the income.
That's, oh, sorry.
That's income, so 32,826. However, we did spend
Okay.
some on dirt, for the park. And we, I think it was estimated at
Sand,
possibly
$10,000.
sand,
About
yes.
right.
Not
So-
to 10,000, but there still needs to be additional dirt placed, but I think it was probably, Christina, do you remember how much? Keith did not. Do you remember how much?
The recent purchase for Dexter, I wanna say it was between, I think it was around 7,000.
Seven, seven, okay. So then let's use seven as a good number. Okay.
Does the dirt, well, it's really sand.
Sand.
By the way, I read a complaint about that, I don't know how I've been down there and walked in it. Does the sand qualify under better place? How does sand qualify, because it does not last 5 years, does it?
Well, or, it should.
It should.
Anyway, well, we did it. Okay, sorry, so I'm,
So that would take us to approximately
Okay.
39,826, I think rounded up to 40,000, just to be on the safe side that we've got 40,000 that has been expended out of this current year's budget. Do we see any more coming out at this time until October 1?
What's going on with the North Lake Street drainage? Well, that was supposed to be
So
done a long time ago.
right now, we have engineering plans that were created for Mid-Tower. We have a proposed cost, and I believe they're getting a second quote for the work to be done because the work exceeded the amount that the city set aside.
Okay.
I believe by the tune of $30,000 is what I was.
For where?
For
North
the,
Lake Street.
correct.
For North Lake Street?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know that it came in at 30,000 more. It was, I think that's, I don't know, where's Keith?
That's what I just, was gonna say, we need Keith.
Yeah, we need Keith.
Okay.
That's, we need to do that, we've been promising and working on that for.
Exactly.
Since before I was elected.
And I said that
In 2022, I believe, when I was looking at minutes last night, we were talking about
yesterday.
actually, I got another communication from Mr. Tatum.
Mhm.
He says it's been 9 years.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, it's been a long time, obviously hasn't.
Not
been
approved, it hasn't
Right.
been approved for 9 years.
Right.
He says that it's been a problem for, prior to whenever he bought it. It was
Yes.
flooded twice with the one prior, we paid that out, that claim out, and then he brought it forward. His house actually has not been flooded, his yard has,
And it's wrong.
and his garage, but the house is flooded.
And that should be a priority, that we get that done. We have been talking about it.
That's what I was saying yesterday when we were talking about the stormwater, but that's
Yes, ma'am.
that's separate apart from it.
Yes, ma'am.
Here's Keith.
Good morning, Margaret. Yeah. All right. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
North Lake Stormwater, I believe Mid-Tower, we talked about that, and I've seen the plans on it. I was telling the commission, I believe that Costa came in higher, and they were looking at doing some value engineering, or at least going back out to bid, but I could be wrong, please update us on that particular.
Well, I know Richard from BRC did come in at $165,000. And we only budgeted 130. And since then, I've had several different quotes. But it's really depending on how much we want to do down there.
So what is your best guess? With the other quotes that you have?
I'll have to go dig it up.
And how soon do you think we can get this taken care of? And get this off our books?
Yeah.
I know, how, but
Let me see if I can find it, and then we'll go from there. I mean, we'll get it cleared up.
so in the budget, how much are you thinking that we need to allot for that project? So right now we have 130 earmarked.
Well, we've already spent 5,000 of that, 6,000 of it.
In this current year,
No,
prior, when you
Yeah.
did the curbing,
Yeah.
is that with the curbing? Okay,
What's, an attempt, but
Yeah,
did not work. And then we approved this
Well,
long-term amount.
it helped a lot. According to Charles, it didn't work at all, but it works, believe me, I've watched it. So that was his opinion.
okay.
Well, Mr. Tatum still feels there's a significant problem.
Well,
So I'm just
the
saying
thing
that.
with that, he bought the house and it's down in a hole. How is it our responsibility? How is it our responsibility when the house was built down below? Leon McKinnon put in a drain that drained all the water. He's the only one that's ever had any problem. That's what I don't understand.
Was the drain that Mr. Kim put in, was that not?
Leon McKinnon had it put in. I don't even know where it's at. And I don't know if it's still there. The house was built on a piece of low ground, roads up here.
At the bottom of the hill, all the water comes down, that's.
And, he swears up and down the neighbor filled in the ditch. Why till now is he bringing this up? Why didn't he bring it up when the neighbor supposedly filled the ditch in, which the neighbor didn't? I know I look at things differently than a lot of people, but, nobody else has had any problem that's lived there. All of a sudden now John Tatum's having problems in it, now has created it where we're supposed to pay to have it fixed.
Was there not, so Keith, was there, when was that the house actually, that they had the claim on the house from the flooding?
Well, that was from sewer.
That was sewer, okay, so that was sewer, that wasn't stormwater.
No, twice it got flooded by sewer.
And we fixed that.
First time was, Leon McKinnon, I think. That was like 30-something thousand. And then some lady bought it. And I think that ended up being 90,000. But we had to go in and they had to cut the drywall out, replace the furniture, carpet, whatever needed to be done, which was paid for by insurance, but it had nothing to do with stormwater. It's not flooding his house. It might be going in his garage, but that's not our fault.
Has this been explained to him at all, what you're
It don't
saying?
do no good. It don't do no good,
Let's just be cautious, because we,
you know?
What I would like permission to do,
Just saying.
no, I'm just, we have personalities, so.
what I would like
Well,
permission,
I don't think the city should spend this money. I mean, we fixed a storm drain over there on Lake Street. $30-something thousand. They redid their whole yard to stop the flooding after we fixed the storm drain.
what I would like to do is, part of the budget, what we put in here was around $7,500, which is an item under infrastructure for stormwater master plan, that specifically stated stormwater master plan. I know that we have plans for this, but I would like to work with the engineer, get with Keith and see if there's any alternatives to put a Band-Aid or a fix to this particular problem that he's having in the short interim, while we're also simultaneously working on a master plan and can create phased plans for the entire community. That's what I think my recommendation would be. I have, streets and stormwater background, as well as Keith. We can put our heads together with the engineer and maybe get this down a lot significantly. I've looked at the plans, and my only concern is that if we fix this right now and we go and let's say we spend $130,000 and it fixes his one issue, and we do move forward with the master plan, it could essentially affect what that construction sequence could be later. We may be actually going back and doing work that we necessarily didn't have to do or paying twice, you know what I mean? I'd love to have the chance to do that. I have not talked to Mr. Tatum myself. My door is always open. I want to hear what's going on with the community. I have not had time or an invite to go meet him either. But like I said, we've seen the plans, but I would like permission to move forward with those steps.
Okay, Mayor, I would like to add something to that.
Uh-huh.
We've talked, different people have said different things about, is it our responsibility? I think we could use some guidance from our city attorney as to what our responsibility is and isn't, because we are not the last word on that. And we have some responsibility for stormwater and wastewater. Obviously, the man's house was permitted there. It wasn't built without a permit, was it?
It could have been, back in the day.
Yeah, it probably was permitted back in,
Okay,
I
well,
think the house was built in the eighties.
Yeah, 1980.
I'm saying, I'm pretty sure that they got a permit for the house, so I think we should get also, I don't have any problem, with our city manager looking at a, stormwater plan, because I think he has a great point there, but I also think we need guidance from Mr. Holmes as to what our responsibility is it, or isn't it?
So, but Keith, I thank you for your, I respect your opinion as well, because you're out there and you've watched it. And I've seen you out there when it's raining, sitting in your truck watching that water with the, because you didn't offer me a ride when I was running through there.
You were already wet.
Figured that, you just didn't want to get your truck
I mean, you could have rode in the back.
You just didn't want to get your truck messed up. So, I mean, we have an issue there. I think we still need to, at this point in time, there, keep some money earmarked, so that we have it. That would be my recommendation.
And we should be able to spend, do that before the end of the fiscal year, hopefully, if we are gonna move forward.
And we've got other homes, along Lake Street. We all know Lake Street, especially if you're with one of those roads, at the end of one of those roads that feeds down to Lake Street, that, we've got some issues with that water when we have, a large volume come down at one time. It's an issue.
Mayor?
Yes.
So a couple things. One thing I don't see in here, and I don't see specifically the 7,500 for the study. Two things. When you look at the whole east side of town, sloping downward from 17, especially in that area by Lakeview, the northern part, what you see is we really have a lack of landscaping uphill. And more modern stormwater planning incorporates landscaping. We could even look at an ordinance requiring landscaping. There are a lot of things that you can do besides put in big pipes, which that is the most expensive thing you can do, is engineer big pipes. So I would hope that any comprehensive stormwater design includes those lower cost things that we could do. And one thing that homeowners up the hill and that we could do in our right of way is provide those water retaining, that plants, that there's swales, there's bushes, there's trees, they keep water from flowing downhill.
Unless it's in a road, because a lot of those roads, that's where the big problem is where those roads, like where Florida hits, Kathleen's property at the end. Now that we've taken, I think they've pretty much figured that out, but where that water, if you're ever down there and it gets down there and it starts swirling and then it just it spreads. Right. But that's the problem. I understand landscaping but in those direct paths where that water is flowing down those roads, it goes direct.
I agree, it's designed as
I know
the
you
streets
do.
are.
Yeah, well, here,
Here.
also in Tallahassee, and anytime you build on slopes, you got problems. So, there's a lot of things we could do. We could even put strips of impervious pavement in some of those downhill roads. There's more things you can do besides, really big pipes. So, I think we ought to take a look at that as much as possible, because it will save us money and right away. And of course, what we have on Central Avenue is a big vault, right? Do we have any other vaults besides on Central?
I think what we ought to do is I hate to do this to you, Keith, but we ought to pass this fall to you. And, because I kind of don't, I really don't disagree with you that I think it's probably not necessarily up to the city to fix all this. But I think we're not gonna be able to fix it in this meeting, which is what we're trying to do right now. So I think if you and Derek, okay, you can take the ball, you pass it to them, I don't care what you do with it. But get something together for where you wanna kinda go forward, on how we wanna manage that would be the next step.
So with that, we've got the budget, and that's what we're talking about now, is if we did a stormwater master plan. And you think you can get one for $7,500?
There's no way.
There's no way.
I've seen, $400,000 is what,
We don't have a huge inventory. Keith actually has a lot of the information already needed.
Well, some of it's already been done. When we did them big tanks.
Okay.
Outside of, and I use 7,500 only because outside of Mid-Tower, I was actually called from a company that had looked me up on Indeed, and they're a qualified company. I looked them up and didn't promise them anything. They just said, hey, this is what we provide. We know that you need X, Y, and Z. We can do an entire master plan for the city for $7,500. And that was verbal, but absolutely.
If you would price that out,
Yes,
talk to Mid-Tower about it, because they are approved engineer.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we go to a company, an unknown company, but because everything I've heard with the stormwater master plan, I mean, if that's the case, we would have done that some time ago.
Right.
So if you would find out about that, yes, Commissioner DeVito.
Does the Water Management District have any resources to help us plan, or if we have a plan, we can apply for grants, is one is two.
actual planning grant.
Yes.
But Mayor, while Keith is here, we're talking about stormwater, and by the way, I do hope that Commissioner Burton says she wants to give it to Keith and the city manager. I do hope we're going to inquire of the city attorney and ask what our responsibilities are.
You already indicated such, and so
Okay.
I would think.
I just
that
wanted to
we would
do
do that.
We will.
Okay,
We will.
because he's, to me, kind of a very important part of that. So I know the last couple of years, didn't we have unanticipated stormwater pipe failures that we needed to take care of? I thought we did, Keith is nodding yes. So my question about this budget is, should we set aside some money in case we have an unanticipated pipe issue? Because we also, in addition to any responsibility back to the homeowners, we have a responsibility to Crescent Lake, I think. We're not supposed to let stormwater and wastewater go into the lake. So I guess that's my question for Keith. Should we set aside some emergency money?
Well, I mean, it would be nice, but it's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take a lot of money to fix, because we already got a hole on Lake Street forming now.
Yep.
And that's, most likely that's stormwater. Jason pulled the manhole. The pipe is full of water, but it stays like that. But yeah, we really need to apply for grants, to be honest with you. But we also need a plan, kind of like he's talking about, a stormwater plan. That way, if we go to the St. John's, it'll kind of be ready. Like the last time we had all the prints ready and we got the grant.
Now, we've talked to Fox about getting that grant, right? Are they on this or?
Yes, we've had verbals on the phone. Christina and I set up a meeting yesterday, but we had a run over on working on the budget, so we had to postpone that meeting and push that for another time. We had Mid-Tower that was in that meeting, and Melissa Fox as well. We were gonna discuss with them what our vision was as far as, master plans and what we could do to obtain grants and moving forward with that. So that is in the discussions.
Okay, well.
We haven't, I don't see that in our, when we've looked at our BPPs, that we've actually set aside a emergency. That could be that's a good suggestion. That we set aside an emergency, and we just have to determine what that dollar amount is. So Keith, what would your recommendation for a dollar amount be if we were to set aside an emergency for failures? I mean, you get into these and just like Tatum, which is one house, that's $130,000. So I don't know how much we would,
The holes in the road, there's certain fixes we can do with that are less cost, less cost and least expensive. But we have the tree canopy, a raised canopy in here for 20,000 in the infrastructure. We could just change that notation if that's something we can't do and set aside the 20,000 for roadway mishaps. And I think we could work with that, right, Keith?
Yeah, we should be able to.
The chipper too, the otherwise than infrastructure tax allows you to buy vehicles.
From before. If it were allowed, I mean, these do, tend to last more than 5 years and they are under equipment. I would like to go in a different direction than a $100,000 chipper. Maybe an attachment mulcher to, I don't know if we have other equipment that can do that, with attachments, but something we won't put as a placeholder, but we'd like to look at that. That is a need that Public Works has. They have several needs if we're looking at equipment, and you can only do a truck. They need a grapple truck. That's really important. That's something we do not have currently right now, and I think those range probably from around $100,000 to $150,000. So,
except for we lost out on an opportunity there. And that's something that we as a commission need to, that we need to look at, that when those opportunities arise, I mean, that either we've approved and we say we have a certain amount that he can use to buy the gravel truck, and if that happens, then they'll have to come back to us for approval, because we've already given you that approval, through the budget. Because we lost out, that was a great opportunity and we lost out on it because it would have needed our approval. So those things do need to be, acknowledged.
How much was the good?
When we were talking about it, I think I had found one in Delta.
Yeah, I think it was like in that 30 range.
There's been a couple on there like brand new that goes reasonable.
Well, it's just like fire trucks. If you, at the right time, you can find one that somebody ordered and then cancels their order and it's still built. And I've seen them for $200, brand new fire truck. It's like, there's nothing wrong with it, it's just, they need to get rid of it.
right.
Let's get, let's, if we can, also, Derek, if you can get us a definition of what they require for equipment, because I can't imagine that for equipment, it's only vehicles.
Okay.
If it's equipment, then that, anything that has a lifespan over 5 years that can be used by the city, let's just get a definition.
Okay.
A definitive.
I might have one on my desk if you give me just a second to go grab that.
Okay, Mayor,
Yes.
I said this morning, I think staff and the commission, it's very important that we know what the state authorizes us to do.
That's what I'm asking for right now.
And it's in, I sent it this morning, it's 212.055 grant 2. And then the county ordinance doesn't specifically loop us in, so that means, as I understand it, we're governed by the state statute. And there's a part that's not clear, but I have another question for Mr. Harris while he's here when we finish this.
Go ahead.
I'm so glad you want me to go.
Go ahead.
Go, okay. So, one thing I was thinking of for Public Works, what is the status of the generators for the lift stations? Remember last year, didn't y'all have to, during one of our mini storms, didn't y'all have to trade them out to keep the lift stations going when the power was out? And we talked about the need to perhaps buy lift stations.
Well, yeah, we got portable generators.
Sorry, not generators, and they had to switch out generators in order to fix those.
Yeah, we got a generator that we pull around.
Right.
Now I know that as soon as the CDBG gets released, after they get done doing their final look at, there will be a brand new generator put on Bay Street. And that's one of the major ones. That's included in the CDBG grant.
Okay, we have a CDBG grant
For the North Main Street.
It's actually the Main
Okay.
Street Waterline Project.
Okay.
But we had to include some type of sewer work in there for the grant.
Okay, so because my question is, we talked about last year, after all this, we talked about what prices for generators would be and how many you would need. but you're saying that did not go any further, like you didn't bring us, I don't remember you bringing us
No.
prices.
No, ma'am. I know we did talk about it. It's, some of them, let me see. I mean, there's probably two more major ones that we could use a lift station on, or a generator.
Now I got you doing it.
And then, yeah, and then the rest of them, we still got that pull behind, and it does a real good job.
So in other words, you, as long as you have gasoline, you can
Oh, yeah.
move a but you could use 2 additional generators. And do you have,
All of our lift stations have plugs on them, so we basically just pull it there and we plug it in. Some of them we have to hardwire because I can't get the generator down there to the particular spot to plug it in. And, so a lot of times, like over there on Prospect, we just pull up to the panel box and I'll hardwire it in.
okay, and that is needed if the power is out for,
Storms.
right, but how much cushion do we have? Obviously, the power goes out during the storm. If the power stays out X amount of time, when does it start to be a problem?
The Prospect lift station at KIP, we really gotta pump it out once a day.
Okay,
And some days, depending on, I mean, you know, last year you had a house full of people. We had to do a little bit more often, but most of them, once a day.
I was gonna say 24 hours, it seemed like the last time, because you're having to do down on the north end too,
Yeah, I did the one at, the trailer park, that's
at the trailer
where I got,
park.
that's where I got stuck.
And then I think, didn't we also, yeah, and then also at the fish camp, did you have to do the fish camp also?
Yeah. And we didn't really have to do that one until,
Yeah.
it was a long
didn't have
time.
the volume, but
okay, so we have about 24 hours grace.
Yeah.
And then it becomes an issue, and when you say KIP, you mean 229 South Prospect, down at the very bottom of the hill, right?
yeah.
Where
it's-
Robert Fisher used to
Yeah.
live.
And
Okay,
there's only 5 houses on it.
right,
So we got some leeway, but we normally pump it out every 24 hours.
okay, and by the way, we never did this, we have had a lot going on, but, I was hoping that sometime during the year, we would find time to give a special thanks to the Public Works Department and you and everybody who did that, intense backbreaking work to make sure those lift stations function, because how many days was that went on?
Lost
it
count,
was 5. It
yeah.
was about five full days. It wasn't until that Sunday that it actually, all, we were completely powered.
Mhm.
Friday night was when it powered most of the town, but that Sunday was when it powered the full town. We were at 100%.
Now, I'm not sure, the Lake Crescent, I can't even think today. The fish camp,
Crescent.
They changed the
didn't
name.
they agree to help us do some work to the lift station and maybe help put a generator in?
Yeah, I thought there was something out there that Andrew,
Yeah.
Yes.
that Andrew had agreed to do something there,
We need to-
especially with the expansion.
Right, we need to get with them, and see, you know, if they are willing to help split the cost or whatever we gotta do to be able to get a, you know, lift station down there especially. But then again, during a hurricane, are they gonna be letting people come in?
Right, and
Well,
be there.
I mean, sometimes you get caught, we don't
Yeah.
know,
Oh, yeah.
we just don't know. Do they reside there? Okay, are the owners, and is there a resident caretaker, or do the owners live there?
And
No, Andrew and them are from,
Atlanta.
yeah,
But, I mean, you just never know, if a storm comes in unexpected, they could have a house full.
yeah,
And all the people in their buildings, they have cottages, so there'll be people there. They might not be in their travel trailers, but they would be in some of the structures there.
We
Right.
had an on-site manager.
They do.
Yeah,
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, they do.
So there would be people there in the brick and mortar buildings, so. So that's a good idea, especially with the expansion, see if we get some cost share on the generator. And on this list, you have restrooms in Colbert Park, did we not get the FERDAP grant?
I had not heard.
That's what I was wondering, because we put in a FERDAP grant, right?
We did, we're still waiting for approval, we're still
Christine can
waiting
speak
for
to
approval.
We're just waiting on it.
Yeah, it was, that included, that was for Colbert Park, right? It was 200,000, right?
I think that's what we asked.
Instead of the little 50 ones, we did 200,000.
Right, and speaking of grants, the $10,000 is to provide, in addition to the $50,000 that we applied for in the small matching, non-match grant.
Right.
And that is in the approved budget. Have we heard on that?
The $10,000 is once we get to construction phase for those documents, that's what it's there for.
And have you heard anything from the Department of State about the 50,000?
In regard to that, it's been approved, we looked up that
Right.
yesterday.
It's on the website, yes.
Yeah.
We recently received correspondence from them and it is stated, it's there. I'm not sure what our first
The next step,
deliverable is.
Yeah, right.
We need to work on it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, and, Mayor, if I could, just to clarify, okay, we applied for, a grant to pay for the architectural plans, correct? Commissioner Lori?
Yes.
The grant's $50,000, the $10,000 is the additional cost needed to pay for the architectural plans, because it is more than $50,000.
Correct.
To get those plans, we have to come up with our own additional funds.
Right.
And we own that. So that is, when we get it, it'll be the state grant money plus our, hopefully, is still covered with the 10,000. And that should pay for the architect plans. Okay, so that's good. So they've actually told us we have the grant.
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
Fantastic. Yes, okay. I believe
So
that's right.
paint the south water tower, I know you had, there was an email,
I sent it to you,
yeah, and that was what, 131,702?
something like that.
So that adjusts down from the 180. So let's just round it up. Should we say it at 135 by the time we get to it?
I would say so, because they said, well, mid-October, they're coming in to do the 100,000 gallon storage tank and put the easy in it
Okay,
and the new aerator then on top of the aerator tower. I think they're just waiting for us to turn the money loose on the tower.
so,
It's gonna be down a while, and I will say they're gonna have to trim some trees. There's no way around it, because they gotta tint the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because it is, it's lead paint.
Is this the same company that, did it prior, or is this a new company?
Utility service.
Same company?
Yeah, the interesting thing about the water tower is it is a historic structure. It actually is the exact same water tower as they have in Benel. If you look at it, it's got a little tin oil can cap and the round bottom. And that, they actually have theirs added to the National Register of Historic Places. And that's gonna be something in our survey that we will have a report on next week, that it was built in 1926 by the Brooklyn Bridge and Tower Company. It's a historic structure, I mean, it doesn't work out, so we just need to make sure we take care of it.
Put up in 1924.
Yeah.
By fire hydrants, was like $18,000.
Yeah.
They brought it in by train from Quitman, Georgia.
And Benel had the same one done at the same time, so it's, pretty cool.
so currently we have this, paint the south water tower, we have that 180, we have that in this year's current BPP.
Mhm.
So my question is, are we going to expend that money this year, or do we need to roll it over into next year's?
It all
Budget.
depends on if we wanna go ahead and turn them loose to sandblast the tower.
Yeah, we should.
We just,
I mean,
y'all
if
just
we
gotta
have
sign the
approved-
contract.
If we have, yeah, so, I mean,
The one is there.
We need to do it.
I mean, unless, if we don't, we can always wait a year to recoup, but then again, we can, go ahead and spend the money.
No, I think we need to go.
well,
and get it done.
I mean, it looked good in my checking account, but I know that ain't going to happen.
I mean, the tower does, it looks, it needs done, I mean, it needs painted, and it's,
No, it does, because there, when you, especially when you look down, I mean, this is something else that we, as we look at all of this, is taking pride in our community. And when you look down to that, you know, I took a picture the other day when I was out running, because when you turn right, you know, when you turn right at Three Bananas, and you look down there, it's, the building, I mean, it's, the building's a mess. It needs work, I mean, and then the tower, and then we've got the mildew. And so it's taking pride in us, and that's what everybody that comes to town really that puts their boat in, that's what they see, and that reflects on who we are.
I can walk out the front door right here and turn, and that's what you see,
Yeah.
it's a water tower, every time I leave here.
I would really love permission to work with Christina on finding a program, an art program, at one of the universities for their students to maybe come and do murals on that. And, maybe, you know, sharing that cost, or at least even do it as a project at their cost. But that's something we can call and find out if that's something you all are
On the
interested in.
building or the,
On the structure, not the, on the building
We
structure,
have
not the
two,
tower.
we have two buildings right there, we have that front building, and then we got a little area right behind there, that building.
But I think that we need to pull the trigger and get the water tower underway. It's obviously gonna take a little while to tend it and trim the trees and all that, but the money's there, we allocated that money, we allocated it last year and the year before, we talked about it, so. And the money is in the account, let's go. And like the mayor said, it's pride in our community, it looks sad and, you know, faded, everybody talks about that, that's advertising, that's our city, that's pride, that's why, you know, everybody that drives to town sees that. Like I said, just walk out the front door here and turn right, you'll see it, so.
well, along that line, Mayor, if I could add one thing. Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about the, heritage-sized oak trees that are up near the water tower that need to be trimmed. And you said the quote is coming in at less than the original 180. So if those are heritage trees, they're supposed to be trimmed by a certified arborist with tree risk assessment abilities. So I hope that we're gonna do that. Did you have a
Most
plan?
likely the city will have to pay to have the trees pruned.
Right,
I don't think that's in the contract,
okay,
but they did say that they will have to be pruned back.
right,
And then also they gotta make arrangements with FPNL because of that power line that's right there. I don't know what, I'm hoping they don't have to have them turn it off, but hopefully we can work around that,
turn off,
the power down there.
if they turn off the power, does that affect the water or does that affect the neighborhood?
Affect all of it, but everything we run, like, we can run on generators, but we can't run for, it's probably gonna be a month of them out there.
Can they relocate the line?
No.
They can, but we gotta pay for it.
Well,
See, we need all this kind of brought to us, I mean, all of a sudden we've gone from, you know,
Well, that's,
80,000, now you're adding. All that needs to be brought
well,
as
the
a.
pruning won't be that much. If they just gotta,
Cost now to prune and.
But, what I'd like to do is keep the budget at 180. We do our homework on everything that's needed, and then we'll come back to you with a full report before doing anything and get permission to move forward, and we'll lay everything out to you on all the costs and
Well,
what.
that 180 though, you have to be careful, because it's like, if that's not, with the tree trimming, you're gonna have to get permission to
Correct.
see if in fact, because this is, because we're using this under infrastructure,
Right.
if that could be rolled into, if that tree trimming could be rolled into this because it's necessary for the
For the job.
infrastructure job. So you're gonna have to get some clarity
Yeah.
on that.
And we can spec out too in that, I'm sure, requirements from the city for, the certified arborist to come in and all of that in their contract.
But we kind of need this to go, and you want to say you do it with this year's money? Then I think
Well,
that
it's
we need
budgeted
this.
for this year.
This year's
So
money,
$180,000
Just like,
180 is budgeted for this year.
for the entire project.
Right.
Yeah, we need to understand what the entire project's really gonna cost.
We will put that together for you.
Okay.
that'd be good, Mayor, if I could.
Yes.
This year's money is quickly going to become next year's money as well.
Well, that's why I said,
well, it's,
but
and it started now.
but if he gets it started now, at least it's in this year's budget,
Right.
and not carried over, because right now you have it carried over into next year's budget, is that correct? Okay.
Correct.
So it might be a portion of it, so that's what we would have to know is a portion of it gonna come out of this year's budget, and then we have to put a portion of it into next year's budget, and then, of course, that would create a carryover from this year to next year anyway, so. But we need, that needs to be known.
You can always put half in this budget right now and the other half in next year's.
And we could do that, 90,000, well, in next year's, so.
May I have a question? Okay, this is not necessarily for Keith. There's two things in here that are not clear. One of them might pertain to Keith. Well, one of them says 17,000, it's 1, 2, 3. It says public, under equipment, it just says 17,000 public works.
That's the
Yes.
Kubota, isn't that the Kubota, or,
It's for either or Kubota or a new mower. We were thinking about getting the new mower right after the first of the year. We had discussed that before. We had bought one, which was part of the funds taken out of this for this year. So we had one carryover that we were doing, one piece of equipment for public works.
Okay, and then we have 17,000 code enforcement.
Yes, and that would be for a new Kubota style, vehicle for her, and we were gonna planning on taking her vehicle and moving it into, one of the other department fleets.
Okay, just remember with her Kubota, or at least one Kubota, you wanna get it so it's enclosed for, weather and what have you.
I don't know that she needs a Kubota, she needs maybe
Even a small truck.
no,
No,
No.
there's a bunch out there. I
There's a
mean,
bunch out
Kubota is
there.
it's very expensive.
it is.
You can drop down and get something.
And I think we're using that name, we're talking about the actual equipment, so I agree.
But just make sure, because of weather.
Even if you put her on a nice enclosed golf cart,
Yes.
the thing with that is the limitations as to where, I mean, there's a lot of places in town she can go on, and of course, if it's an improved vehicle, right, she can, yeah,
All kinds of stuff.
Right, I mean, she needs protection.
she needs
And, I
protection.
mean, from the weather, as Commissioner Burton said, from dogs, she needs something that will leave if she needs to leave. But also, one of her responsibilities is picking up unauthorized signs. Sometimes they fill up the back of her truck.
There's a lot of nice, carts out there though right now at reasonable price, and so, yeah, it's worth.
I mean, I'm just bringing that up because she does need space to carry things. When she picks, there's nobody else that I'm aware of that picks up the snipe signs and the unauthorized political signs.
A lot of them have beds now, small beds in the back,
Yeah.
utility beds, so we will look into that and all the options.
And that too, if you put her on that, I mean, she and Corey could also, because Corey oftentimes is on the Kubota, but possibly they could share a vehicle if she needs that truck, if she needs a truck. The biggest thing is, as code enforcement, you see a lot more when you're in a golf cart, when you're out there on the road, than you do just driving, just driving, so that's.
Tracy just brought a new little, golf cart, I don't know if you've seen it, but it really has all the bells and whistles in it, and, what I mean by that, it's got radio, you can hook your, telephone up to it, your computer, all that kind of stuff. And the price tag on that, at the time that we bought it, it's gone up since, but we only paid about $6,500 for that golf cart. So there's a lot of options out there.
And that was brand new.
That was brand
That was
new.
brand new.
But that doesn't enclose from the weather, correct?
Well, no, but that's a start,
Oh,
that's just starting.
a mark,
Right, yeah.
And there's kids that you can have on with these enclosures. So,
Okay,
so you guys have, I would suggest perhaps on the, list here, code enforcement vehicle instead of just code enforcement. It's a little confusing.
right. I mean, because I wondered, is that abatement?
Right.
Is that-
And we wanna make sure people know that that's a vehicle. And the chipper, I think we have to take off because that's not that's not gonna qualify. And then gas truck, that's for natural
I
gas.
don't wanna take the chipper off until we know it's not qualified, because I believe if you can attach it, especially if you can attach it to a piece of, if you can attach it to a vehicle, or if you can attach it to something, that possibly, that it would pass.
Correct, I read about that, and if it's hitched,
If it's
then,
hitched.
correct.
So we need to find out we just need some clarification, and I don't wanna lose that, because they definitely they are in need of that. We didn't put a gravel truck on here.
Mayor, as
Yes.
well, two things I don't see on here that we have talked about, and we haven't made decisions. Dock repairs. Don't see dock repair on here. Did we decide where we would take dock repair from, or is that's still an open question? And then, given the situation of the general fund budget, at that workshop, we talked about the possibility of paying for the needed fire vehicle equipment from Better Place Land Fund, which is specifically one of the things that you can use Better Place Land Fund money for. And I don't see that here, because that would, I don't know, it would either take a burden off the general fund budget, or it would pay for something that we don't have the money to pay for. I'm not sure where we left that.
Which reminds me, while we're on this, that came up yesterday, that there is availability for one of those needs that the fire department has at a reduced cost, so we need to possibly discuss that too.
Okay.
Is there a time limit on that, Megan?
Could possibly be. I mean, again, when you find a bargain and you don't
That's
do
what
it
I'm
on it.
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's something that, I think you were going to agenda, but if not, we can put that, maybe the commission could talk about it and possibly approve that today if they agree to.
Okay.
When you look at our Crescent City capital improvement plan for last year, for this current fiscal year, what we're looking at, entry features, we still haven't done that, and that is definitely a need. I do believe we can do it for less than the 45,000, even if we did a very simple but very nice, like you see when you drive through other communities, that have the nice poles and our sign that we have. You could do that for reasonably, you need 3 of those, correct? We need one north and south and west. And
But the
so
north and south, we might be able to use CRA money for, so the north one.
we could do for the,
Go, Christina.
I don't think
Can't use,
so.
that's a general fund expense,
That's
not
definitely-
CRA.
That's general fund. We can't do Crescent City limits out of the CRA.
Well,
Sorry, I mean, that's just logic. Sorry, I mean, I know it's,
But I mean, with the one on the north end was always passed from Dixie. I mean, if
Okay.
I want to go all the way to the city limits, that's Citron.
I don't know, to me, it is a questionable expense for the CRA to fund the city fund.
I think right now it's in Better Place, and that's the best place to keep it, so there's no question, about that.
Okay.
So, but I do think we could do that for reduced cost. Anyway, so we haven't done that. The Kubota, we've added that on to next year. And the sand, we have 3,000 remaining there. We've done possibly 7,000 for that. The monument sign for Eveline Park, $20,000.
That was just a cost that was carried over from the previous city manager's report and his CIP, so I'm not sure, I have not investigated those costs myself or gotten quotes, but, I assume we could get something much less expensive.
And of course, the water tower, so that's something we're looking at dividing up. The stormwater, the 130 that we have there, the renovation of the aerator structure,
Yeah, that's going on.
so that's the 17.2, that should come out from this year's. And then we have to have that, is that correct, Keith?
The
Is
aerator,
that correct, the aerator for 17.2, that comes out of this
That's all in
year's?
that thing that's coming up.
And it'll come into, and then we need to
We're already
allot for it for
basically
next
paying for that.
year, yes.
And
And
how
then,
many years was that? It was like 2 or 3? How many years?
3,
3.
I think 3
I thought it
years.
was 3, I thought it was 3, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then we're looking at taking the 20 out. So then when you go onto our approved capital city, capital improvement plan for next year, this coming budget that we're working on, the New Moon Lodge restoration, that $10,000, which we've earmarked in here. Information sign for City Hall, the 35,000.
That's all.
And that's information sign, so we need to make sure that you put that, that's the digital sign, and we definitely need a new one. The pickup truck, the 50,000, we put that into the new budget as approved. Riding lawnmower, the 15, we already did that from this previous one, correct? And did we take that out of BPP, do we know?
Steve is not here, but when he gets back, I'll find
Okay,
out.
we need to know that, because that's gonna reduce what we have for this year.
I believe you did.
Okay,
Yes.
so,
The recently purchased,
Yes.
Yeah,
one,
equipment
yeah,
for,
my understanding was that was some of the carry forward, not every place, is that?
I'm seeing 15,710, for actuals year to date in May on equipment for, I think that's what it is. I believe that is where that came from. Out of the
Wasn't there one that was just?
discretionary fund.
Last one?
Steve, did we take the mower that we had in the discretionary fund this year? It's 15,710? Yes, I believe so. Yes, so that's correct. So that's where the mower came from.
okay, so we've already taken that out.
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have to have it in here. However, you still saying that you need another mower, is that correct?
It would be nice, but if I have to get something else, that would be like,
Okay,
well, to be honest with you, Dave needs a truck.
yeah, well, we
I
put
can
that
get away
in.
with it. I can get away with, once we do something about, a side by side or whatever for Pam, then I can take her truck over into my department. But right now, but Dave really needs one.
Dave's in the hole on his vehicle. We just spent $750 on it,
Yeah,
and it's still in trouble.
Okay, so we've got the chipper for 100,000, and you've included that into this, knowing that we can come in lower, and if verification that we can actually do something like that. The restroom for Culvert Park, you've got that for $50,000, and we think, how much are we going to have to, is there anything that we're gonna have to put into that key?
well, Christina just brought it to my attention because it slipped my mind. We've all talked about it, putting stainless steel toilets in all the bathrooms. So we need to figure that into the budget somehow.
Okay,
We can do just toilets, or we can do toilets and sinks, because it's
Sure.
over $200 every time they turn around.
I would do, if we're gonna do, we might as well do both, just simply because they're tearing up the sinks too.
And I do know, when we built the bathroom at Harry Banks was $59,000. It was supposed to be 45, but then they realized he couldn't build it for that.
Okay, 59,000 at Harry Banks?
Yeah.
And
Now,
how,
I do know that, Jay Roberts and, I think Ed Mitchner was willing to help build it.
the one at Culvert, they said that they would. But now my question again is, we've got 50,000, but if we have the grant, do we still need that 50,000 in there? What is that 50,000? Is that our part?
No, I think that was, and if we
Well,
did.
Be honest with you, I don't know, because I wasn't in on the. Right.
And we asked for 200?
Let me look at my file, I believe we asked for 200, but part of the, submittal did include, a bathroom.
The bathroom, okay.
Yes, so I don't know if we can perhaps take the 50 that was allocated or potentially allocated to Colbert and disperse it amongst our existing bathrooms. I think that would be a better fit for the funds right now.
So maybe rather than put it under culvert, maybe we put it under bathrooms, public bathrooms.
Yeah, it's around in pretty rough shape,
Yeah.
right?
They are, and it's an ongoing issue for our citizens and families, they can't use the bathrooms, and this could maybe help that. We could even, work on getting locks, different mechanisms like we discussed to help be more proactive with the vandalism aspect.
And so every time we go in there now, are we gonna put stainless steel in? And do you know what those cost? I think you looked out that up, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now we have how many bathrooms that we have to fix right now? 1, 2, 3, 3.
Are there 5?
That's what I'm asking.
Well, you have men and women, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 actual stalls right now, correct? Does that sound right? Because you've got
There's two.
1 at Marjorie, Neal, you got 2 at Marjorie, you have 2 over here at Eva, you have 2 at Fletcher, and you have 2 at Harry Banks.
And two,
Oh, and 2 at Dexter, so we have 10, so we have 10.
Right, I said there's 5
So there's 10, so there's 10
So
stalls.
anyway, because I think that's gonna be pretty expensive to put all stainless steel in those.
it's gonna be expensive, but it's gonna
It's
save
gotta
us
be,
in the long
hopefully
run.
it's gonna be worth it. 'Cause
And then I
this
think
is
some
just
of the-
been a continuing circle.
How
And
much
I'm
is,
one that says close them at a certain hour,
Yeah,
because it seems like most of the damage happens at night, but, we'll get there when we get there.
and maybe with our automatic locks or
Yeah.
investigating other locking mechanisms, maybe there's an automatic one or something.
it's on a timer, so on a-
Yeah.
at a certain time on a timer that it goes off,
It's certainly worth exploring.
yes.
the time of day.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're locking them at night.
that would be interesting. I would just point out that I think Bellary Beach, who has a contract with their sheriff, I think one of the sheriff's duties is to lock the bathrooms at night and open them in the morning. That, I think that's in their contract.
Well, it sounds like it's something to consider as well, so.
You know,
That's there, we've talked about that as far as a plan on giving a little bit more time to the guys. Somebody coming in, having a rotating, schedule on opening in the morning, closing at night, be, dusk, dawn till dusk. We just haven't finalized that, but we've had discussions about
And
that.
I think when the park closes, I mean, absolutely, when the park closes, that means the bathroom's closed as
Yes.
well. So that's something that if we could have an automatic, that it would automatically do that, that's something to look into. We also don't have cameras, and I don't know the lifespan of a camera, if they would consider that for 5 years.
I believe that security is in the document that I gave you under, I think it's under infrastructure, I can't remember, but I believe security is in there. I can't recall, but it's something we need to look into.
That's for sure. I'm looking at it, seeing.
I just have one very curious question. I just want to make sure when the mechanism that locks the bathroom on a timer, I'm hoping you can still
You
get
can still
out.
exit.
You should still be able to exit, just not get back in.
Yeah.
Okay,
Outside of the lock.
Because that, okay.
And I lock them.
Unless, yeah,
We looked into.
otherwise we're gonna give them your telephone number, it'll be on the inside of that door. Please call this number, you've been locked in, and she will hopefully get to you at some point.
Okay, what happened?
Assuming they have a phone number. And then, so we're gonna
I'll make sure your phone number's on the inside of that door.
Well, no, I think we should share.
Oh, Lisa.
I think we should share. We'll each take the nearest facility.
That's right, that's where we got that line.
It's like that.
Okay, so that's just a thing, I don't see security on here, but that's something that we could look into.
I'll look deeper into that.
Yeah, that we should look into, because that's a question too, because we don't have cameras, we don't have cameras here on our building, and we absolutely should have cameras.
I know there are some.
And quit with this rigging of whatever we're doing that are ineffective. We need to have cameras, I mean, this is 2025, everybody has a camera, we have them on our house, and why we don't have a camera on our buildings and our equipment, especially our playgrounds and our parks,
It's time.
it's time, and
And if we end up doing the cameras and stuff, if we do the electronic locks, you're gonna have to have Wi-Fi.
we're gonna have to have Wi-Fi, and I think that's something that we've been talking to,
We have.
how Windstream or
It was
Infinity.
costly, yeah, we started, Karen actually, our former
Yeah,
clerk,
that's
started, initiated the process, and, I followed up. I've also reached out to Xfinity, Keith had the idea, maybe they could help us sponsor maybe some of the internet, they don't do that, so we're still kind of actively brainstorming
And that's,
and getting quotes.
that's honestly, I mean, at some point, guys, that's the cost of doing business. So if we have to put internet out there, just as long as there's a secure internet system to where people don't go out there and they're, using it themselves, but it's a secure system, but that's just the cost of doing business.
Okay, so, ma'am,
Yes.
if I could, so, it's a cost to doing business, but we just discussed in the general fund meeting that we are short of revenue to the point where we've asked for, a percentage, we've asked for different percentages on the ability to give staff raises. So we are, we're in a tight year, and according to the property appraiser, there may be more tight years. And you brought up the fact that we don't know what the legislature is gonna do with ad valorem tax. So just, I would caution us to try to be realistic if we're gonna do that with the parks. Will that mean that we'll have to cut somewhere else in
And it
general?
might be, and that's something that we have to determine, but we need to know what the cost is gonna be.
Right, and just saying, for Better Place Plan, I did not bring my capital improvement documents with me.
I did.
Well, that's nice,
Do you want to see mine?
no, but I think when we discussed the budget, I mean, probably we would have had that before us and had a report on what was done and not done. I think Better Place Plan needs to be more tightly integrated with general fund, for example, the fire department needs. We can pay for some of that out of Better Place if we so choose. The other thing we have to remember, it's gonna be a tight year. I mean, this is our opportunity to look at the capital improvement plan and see what's realistic, what's not realistic, where are we short? Better Place Plan fund right now, that lasts until, it lasts 7 more years?
Yeah.
We only have it 7 more years, assuming the legislature keeps it there. I mean, we need to plan not just for the current year, but for the future. And given new circumstances, I think we should all be looking at the capital improvement plan.
Well,
Yeah.
and so that's why I'm going over this. This is what, I mean, that's why I said, but now you've taken the brick pavers off, the 50,000, so you've removed that.
Yes.
Because that's not a necessary need at this time, even though, yes, ma'am.
Backing up to the topic of the docks and dock repair, I think that it is imperative that we allocate, funds not only for the existing repairs, but forward thinking if a storm takes out our docks again, are we prepared to fix them? And we weren't last.
And I think too, thank you for bringing that up, Christina. The other thing that we need to talk about is we already know that on Fletcher Park, that dock is too low. And so if we have another storm come through, this is year after year when we have a storm come through, FEMA's not going to allow that lift, but in the repairs, how much would it cost the city? Because that's something that could come out of our BPP in the city in order to lift that dock, because it's useless to repair it knowing that the next storm that comes through.
I think it was like 8,000, 9,000 to raise it.
Okay.
But what they recommended is for us to go ahead and put the dock back once they agree to pay us. And then, there's a grant we can apply for that will raise the dock.
Through the state, we've already talked to the state about that, and he feels really confident that we can get that money to raise it.
And how long is that?
We have to get it fixed first.
Yeah, it's gotta be fixed first.
I know, but
He's
how,
seen-
what with the grant, what's the time frame are we talking
He
about?
seemed it was pretty quick.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
he didn't
pretty
see that
quick.
there was-
Once we, get the dock done, the guy said get a hold of him and
Is that through DEP? Who is that through?
FEMA
FEMA?
or,
Wait, FEMA's not the state.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
not
well,
the
it's
state.
some type.
It was FDM.
Yeah.
It was FDM.
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 With
FDM.
our emergency management.
Okay.
So are we repairing the docks already?
No,
We need to.
we fixed this.
We fixed that part, right?
Emergency management have dock repairs. Why would
Because
that?
it's mitigation.
Well, is that what they're putting it under, is mitigation?
I believe so. There's a program that they have separate, above and beyond what we already were looking into, that would take care of the cost of it. I don't know the exact program, but I'll find out. I'll talk to him again.
Okay.
We'll circle back
Yeah,
to
we
him.
need to know that, so that if that's something that we need to do.
I don't think we should count on that.
I don't either.
I think we need to have the funds there if we do get that grant or get support for that aspect of mitigation and raising the dock or otherwise, then so be it.
I mean,
So we need to.
only
plan accordingly.
$8,000.
I agree.
We have room in the budget for that in the BPD. We just need to do it.
Yeah, I think we'd go ahead and I agree with Christina, and we put some dollar amounts in there for that.
And I believe it covers boat accesses as well, and I was told that we have an issue with the boat access ramp. I haven't seen it myself,
That's
but I heard that we had an issue
Which
in
one,
the actual ramp
Dexter?
itself.
I mean, at Stella?
Over here at Stella, yes, ma'am. So I don't know how much it would cost to
What's
fix
wrong
it or
with
what
it,
the
Keith?
issues are.
What's wrong with it?
First I heard of it,
Yeah, so wait a minute, is that our ramp or the county ramp?
the boat ramp belongs to FWC.
FWC, that's what I thought it was.
Well, in other words,
FWC.
it was my impression that the ramp was not ours, that's voting, but the dock is ours.
Okay.
On Stella, is that correct?
That's been my understanding, same thing with down here too.
Right.
I'll share with you the information that I received. I actually just received it from a resident out here of some damage, some issue to the boat ramp, so.
Ramp or dock, is it the dock or
It was
the ramp itself?
The ramp itself, yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
that would be
it, I
FWC.
literally just
so we
received
need
it this
to-
morning.
Because the ramp is concrete, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it would take quite a bit.
But it's still power load, when they go up, they grab their engine, put it up on the trailer, it washes out underneath the slab and the slab falls. And that's what happened, or has happened up since a lot of it at the end there. That's why that ramp is so steep, which it's fine, we have Sunrise Park, really.
Right.
Okay,
But so the docks,
so looks to me like y'all still have some work to do on the BPP.
Right.
Okay.
Commissioners, do we have anything else on this any other questions before
Just,
we move on or take a break?
I could use a break. My
Let's
question
finish
for-
this up.
Right, my question for the commission is, do we have any kind of consensus on, do we want staff to look at the possibilities of funding some of the fire department equipment needs out of Better Place Plan? Do we want them to at least look at that and bring it to us, or leave it in the general fund?
Thought we kind of already talked about that if we could get that, we absolutely
I mean, to me, that's
should be
one of,
able to do that.
that's one of our top necessities, and if we are short in the general fund budget, I think it makes sense to look and see, what that would look like if it came out of Better Place Plan, because, I mean, if you take it out of there, then there's, it affects the available funding. But I just don't know how the rest of the commission feels about it, besides me.
well,
It's good.
On the rapid response vehicle, that was one issue we talked about. We were trying to get together some costs on leasing. Keith's actually put together a couple costs for purchase and for lease. On the equipment itself that's needed right now, which is it's the air compressor, we did find a deal on that.
And also for the boat.
And for the boat, correct,
Yeah.
and for the boat.
The to purchase.
Not the boat,
It's a motor.
It's
The air motor for the boat, correct. One Keith found recently, I think it was a little less than $1,600. We would like approval from you all to go ahead and move on that because it is a significant savings from what we put in the general fund budget for this year. We could reduce it and put those dollars elsewhere. The other is the vehicle. We can talk about that and, reconvene. We can move the money around here and use the equipment line item to put a new vehicle in for them as well.
And is that something that we could do with Dave's as well? I mean, I think we need to look at what's the better business decision in us buying these vehicles outright, or is it leasing these vehicles and that would go into like a fleet maintenance program?
Correct.
So we need to start looking at, because we're spending a lot of money on vehicles and it seems like then you surplus it and what do you really get for the surplus?
Not a lot.
And
Yeah.
there's a lot of wear and tear on these vehicles, so I think that's something that from a recommendation, we need to know
We'll put a report together for you all.
what's commissioners, do you agree? Commissioner
Yeah,
Burton,
I
you
agree.
looked like you were gonna say something.
Well, I was just gonna say, it'd be great to go out and buy a new fleet, but more importantly, we don't even have a maintenance plan in place for any of our
We don't.
equipment, for any of our trucks, and I think that's one reason why we're kind of always, we're kind of behind the 8 ball on that. So it'd be nice to try anyway to get some type of, agreement with, a place around here in Crescent City to, bring our trucks in monthly or whatever they need. I don't think we've had that since I've
Well,
been.
we normally change our oil,
Okay,
and we do all that,
Yeah.
but, we do need a new lift. We bought that one, 2008 or 9, and it needs some major work done to it.
but see, it may behoove us to move forward with someone else doing that work for us,
Correct.
instead of our public works department.
Yeah, we were doing it for a while with
Yeah.
Shepherd when Mike was alive.
Mhm.
He worked us out a real good deal.
Yeah.
And then, I'm not sure who quit that, but
Yeah.
it just kind of faded away.
Kind of fade away, but we should relook at that.
Yes.
I think.
I'm putting together information. Keith actually worked on it, asked him to get me a list of all the equipment, and all of the vehicles in the fleet, and he's done that. I was gonna work with Christina once we get past all of this budget to put together an RFQ, to get qualifications for companies out there that can provide us a fleet service at a cost that we would know we would bring back to you all. Right now in the process, we're still just putting together the information, but that is something in our forefront that we've discussed as a team moving forward, and need that the city definitely has.
Can I go back to the
Yes.
docks?
Yes.
At our meeting, I'm just looking at the minutes here, in our meeting that we had, June 12th, we made a motion to do the emergency repairs, and then we also, Commissioner DeVito made a motion to approve the total dock repairs at about $13,000, anticipating FEMA reimbursement, seconded by Commissioner Burton and unanimously approved. So we approved $13,000 to go ahead and fix the docks,
Right, and I
according to
think,
the minutes.
and if I remember, we specified where that would come from. Is that reflected in the
That's not
minutes?
reflected in the new stuff.
That's a problem.
But we did say, go ahead and move forward with docks.
And we also wanted to make sure we had all of our ducks in a row with FEMA. There's a couple emails that went back and forth to getting us off of the mitigation line, and we recently just got that, I believe, last week. I believe who was the representative? Tanya Edwards gave us the green light to move forward in our process. So now we are at that point of being able to start getting that done.
And I thought that 13 is not the entire repair for all of our docks.
No, it was city dock.
It was the city
It
dock,
was city dock.
but it was, I thought it was with the understanding that with the FEMA once we got the reimbursement, is that not correct? Because, that's where, we go back and forth with this, and if we have to be careful, because if we have the ability to get that money back,
It is my memory, and Keith is here, so he can tell me whether I'm saying this right, and I think our city manager was there. It is my memory that the reason I made that motion to go ahead and spend the money is that staff said at that meeting, and that was very late toward the end of the meeting, it was part of the emergency request, wasn't it? For some purchases and things, the staff said that was the one dock they were confident that we could get the FEMA reimbursement.
And FEMA said to go ahead.
is that correct? I don't recall
I
that.
don't recall that. I do know that the $2,000 we spent down there, we will not get back.
Right,
Yeah.
right, did that.
That was
And I'm
for the
under the
fire.
impression that FEMA said if we go ahead and fix the docks, that they might not reimburse us.
Yeah, FEMA right now is in a lot of trouble. FEMA is not FEMA it was last year. And, so we just have to be careful with saying FEMA's gonna give us money, FEMA's gonna give us money. Now, did we put those dollars into a savings account to gain interest on those extra dollars? Is that been put in a savings account yet?
The $750.
Wait, you mean for the Brian?
No, we talked about that last week.
Has that been done?
We have approval for
Is it in the
$750,000.
bank? Is it in the bank gaining interest right now?
No.
Okay, because that interest might be a way to get some emergency type money. It might be a way for, when these docks break and when things kind of happen that we need that money. I think you said you get something about 4.5% on that.
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what it's gonna accumulate, but we need to be doing things like that. we just need to be doing it to help us along here, get through these, what I think are gonna be very lean years.
Yeah.
So we need to start thinking forward, or, you know, be a little more progressive in that.
And I believe staff would like approval for 100% of that money to be able to go into the money market versus 75%. It's,
I move that we authorize staff to put the $1 million reserve that we have into Florida Prime immediately.
Well, the motion needs a
Do we have a second? And
It's not on the agenda.
it's not on the agenda, and I think that's something that's a discussion, and I also want to hear from our finance director, how he feels about that.
And we just wanna make sure,
Yeah,
but
there's
if we
nothing
wanna
wrong-
do this,
yes.
we need to start.
We've already approved the 750,000. I think that's where we start, and you can always add the additional 25 at a later time. if
Okay,
need be.
Mayor, I concur, and what concerns me is if we indeed approve that, I am very concerned that it fell through the cracks and did not get executed because the $30,000 that was built into the current year budget. I mean, it just concerns me, did we actually pass that resolution and authorize it? I thought we did.
Yeah, we did, so.
So,
750,000.
right, so if we authorize it, it should happen.
It should.
Anyway,
I think if we need to add that 25, we can add that 25, you can bring that through the budget process if we can do that. But, 250, I'm sorry. However, I don't know why I'm saying 25, it's the 250 additional, but we can do that.
25%, that's,
Yeah,
you're right.
25%.
Yeah.
That we could do that, but, right now, we need to go ahead, we've already approved that, so we do need to get that. We need to get that taken care
but Mayor,
of.
I assume that Florida Prime will want to see our resolution.
And they did see it when we first sent it to them, and they
Oh
had
my goodness.
changes,
Okay,
and we made the changes.
so it's been there.
It's been there. It's done.
Okay, well,
But we had the resolution done because of Florida Prime.
exactly.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So do we have anything out on the BPP at this time?
Can we just clarify some action items
Yes.
here so that we can put staff clear on who's doing what? So that Steve will initiate and then
Steve's the one.
take care of that with Florida Prime.
Steve
the one
should, yeah,
that came to us.
okay,
Take care of that. Thank you.
Just want to be clear who's doing what.
yeah. No, Steve should be doing that.
And Steve, you had said at our last meeting that you were okay with double amount going in there, or that you had
That's not what
suggested that.
I
The
know,
resolution,
like,
we have an amount.
Yeah.
Does the resolution have an amount on it?
I believe the action was 750,000.
It would be better if we started out with just 750,000, just, you know.
And so that's what I wanted to hear from you, what your recommendation, your finance director, so.
Yeah, we're more comfortable with that, so let's do it. Yeah, we're not always comfortable with the whole.
And we understand that we can pull it out within 24 hours, that's, but right now, we just, let's start with something, and that's what we've approved, and not, the other thing too, I would say that at the next agenda for our next commission meeting, let's bring back the SDOC issue to make sure, so if that's something that we can do, that we lift that dock, so.
One thing about the dock that I brought up too, I think it was, I think it might have been your attention, I'm not sure. I know it wasn't yours, I should have,
I'm sorry.
that's all right. So anyway, what I thought was, you know how that dock's, I don't know, 300 miles out? That one dock by the dog, I think Fletcher Park, thank you. What if we move that in and make it a shorter dock, but higher up? Why are we way the hell out there and, you know, never land, you know, with the dock? I mean, what are we doing?
It's where the good fishing is.
Fishing.
Well, I understand there's good fishing, but, you know, I'm just
That was
saying,
just, that was how the, grant was wrote.
okay. But I mean, now that things aren't, now that we found that, you know, every time a hurricane comes through, it gets wasted and we have to rebuild it, you know, maybe if we bring it in and then raise it at the same time, maybe we can save a little bit of money.
How much do you want to bring it in?
What's that?
How close
Well,
to shore?
I'm not sure, you know, I don't know, because I don't know where the good fishing is, okay?
Anywhere in Lake Crescent.
Well, but anyway, it was an idea, that's all.
So, so we have that discussion.
I move we take a break.
Well, I just, not till we finished up the PPPs.
If I can, one more, comment on the doc. So we have that discussion with Tanya Edwards. The issue is if we change what's there right now, then you run the risk of not being reimbursed. It has to match, because they've already looked at everything, it has to match exactly what's out there. And that's the only reason. However, the state in the meeting with Tanya Edwards said, we can take care of this. Get the doc done, get reimbursed, and then you can come in for a grant.
You know, Doge is out there everywhere, okay?
Is everybody good now at this point with the BPPs? Okay,
Yes.
okay, I'm going to, take a recess, about 7 minutes.
Right, and then
South Florida and Central Florida, and they go back and forth.
Lynn was
Look at the schedule and
Lynn did
find one that.
the office work.
Okay,
Where's the-
everybody ready?
Yes.
So this meeting is back in session.
Okay, and Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
So we had two different meetings noticed, this budget meeting noticed for 10 o'clock. The meeting on the minutes was noticed at noon. I'm seeing that no one is necessarily here from the public, but if someone comes in, do we have to start the meeting on the minutes at noon? I don't know how we do that.
I'm gonna also say that, I have hard stop at 1.
Okay.
I'm gone at 1.
Stop.
Hard, she's leaving. She can't stay.
I don't know what he's thinking, but I'm not
No,
gonna go there.
we need a refrigerator.
Okay, well, then we need to get, we need
Oh,
to get,
turn the mic's back on, actually.
Yeah.
The mic's not on.
There we go.
so,
Everybody has their budgets in front of them. We're gonna start discussing our CRA. And we have 5 pages, I believe, that everybody was given. Yes. Of course, the first sheet is gonna go over our central, north, south revenues. Those were calculated, of course, by taking our 2025 preliminary assessment increment, multiplied by either the city or the county's millage rate, and multiplied by 95%. That is gonna be the shared of TIF for each of the CRAs. And so that is said, if there's any discussion on those, we can discuss those now.
I have a question.
Yes.
So it appears to me that we have not spent all the funds in the current year. Okay, so are we budgeting, my print is really small, are we budgeting for carry forward?
is your print different than our print?
No,
No, it's very small and I don't have.
It's small. So do I say a C for north?
I broke them, but
Okay, so for the central CRA, I'm not seeing budgeted any carry forward.
So,
We went back to 2022 and kind of went through every year with the carry forward, and the central CRA actually had a negative balance. So,
not by much,
Yeah.
but there was a negative balance, so we just put 0 in that column for carry forward.
Okay, so in other words, the amounts we budgeted for the current year weren't accurate. We've had to adjust this year's budget for the central CRA.
correct, it was the past 4 years, I think, we calculated the carry forward on.
Correct.
Okay,
and I am not convinced that that's the case. I think things were not properly,
Allocated.
Okay.
They're into council.
allocated.
okay, well, this is a little bit concerning to me for the current year because it was my understanding that we had unexpended grant funds for the current year for central CRA, that there was a balance.
They're just talking about the revenues. You're looking at the revenues. right
Well, I'm
now.
talking about
Yeah,
carry
but
forward.
she's saying that there should be a carryover in the next year because we had grant funds that were not expended
They're
for
saying
this
that
year.
we added it up.
So I guess what concerns me is, this big question mark, what happens to the funds that we allocated for this year for CRA grant funds from the central CRA? You're saying they're not actually there?
Correct, the way we calculated the carry forward, correct, they're not there, because we started at 2022 and just said, okay, we had an overage, we were over, we were under, we were over, we were under, and at the end of the day, it showed we were under.
Well, somehow that needs to be clearly reported to us, because all I see is a 0 carry forward and a negative balance of 15. And I think we need to,
That's for governments.
and we need to be informed of that, because that affects the current year, and I mean, quite frankly, that just raises a lot of questions. So I do see carry forward for, north and south, and then also affecting carry forward, I think when we looked at the general fund budget, it was my understanding, we were told that, none of the entities, including the CRAs, had paid their administrative share of cost back to the general fund.
Those entries will be done. If they're not done now, they will be.
Okay, so they are to be done.
Correct.
Okay, TBD, and so what will, if the central CRA is 15,000 in deficit, does that include what it owes to the general fund for administration?
I believe not.
It's not actually 15,000 in the deficit, it's just a reduction, we have the carryover 15,000. And they put zero for this next budget year, so that's a reduction of 15,000.
Yeah, because if you
If
look,
15,000 is not a negative, that's a reduction, a decrease.
Correct. That's what we took out.
Yeah.
So that's just showing the difference between what is budgeted today for 2026 and the difference between what was budgeted in your amended budget in 2025.
Okay, for carry forward, right, but I guess my concern is if the money's not there for carry forward, then it's
Don't
not
concentrate on that.
there.
Well, just look at the going down on the budget.
Okay.
because if you look at, so
Has to come from somewhere.
Commissioner DeVito, if you look at, we had the budgeted 173,140 for the central, okay? And then if you look at actually what we have expended thus far, we're at, what, 115? So we're still under for this year. It's just they haven't put all the money, you haven't done your transfers, correct?
Correct.
So,
Okay, well, I have some additional questions when we get to the expenditures part.
okay.
Because if the money's not really there, that's the issue. Okay, I guess that's it.
So does anybody have any other questions on, they've budgeted for 2026?
No.
Yeah, and Christina, you're comfortable with this?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, then let's move on to our expenditures if we can. So let's start with our central.
Let's start with central salaries. We have notes, just so you all know, as we're following together, starting at line 21, going down on this second page to line 42. On the right-hand side, you can see some comments. Most of them are all up to date. Some of them may not have anything if there wasn't anything really to talk about. Anything highlighted might just be something that we added that we wanted to have further discussion.
Did we get an answer on the downtown partnership agreement for services? I guess we budgeted 50,
The budget is 50.
okay, so we're leaving it in there, okay.
Yeah,
But I would point out, our contract with them is pretty sparse, or, well, it needs to be renewed, but it doesn't say much other than that they will follow the 4-point Main Street plan. If we're not allowed to pay for marketing, we might need to mention that and divide that out, so it's not an issue. So Mayor, could I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay, about that, so Commissioner Lori asked about line 30. I had a question about line 26, 2 questions about that actually, which is training and education. At the general fund workshop, I had mentioned that in past years, we had been members of the Florida Trust for Historic Preservation. They put on the Preservation on Main Street conference, and I think it would benefit us to be a member of that organization.
I think that's under.
That would be under membership under line 40.
Okay, so that was that line.
Yep.
Down a little bit, it's on the page.
Okay, but right, well, okay, I'm on the line, but that line does not have Florida Trust either. It has Main Street and Florida Festival and Event Association.
How much is that, do we know?
Those are old
Those are old.
comments
Yeah,
from-
old comment.
So we are currently still a member of the Florida Trust for Historic Preservation.
I believe so, yes. I think we have to be in order to be an accredited Main Street.
Okay, so that needs to just be added in there and updated.
Right, because I think the last time I asked, Charles Red couldn't tell me for sure. So that's helpful information that,
We'll have to, I'll double check that,
Okay.
but I'm pretty sure that.
I know that, and I apologize for interrupting, I know that we need to, have these discussions on all this, it's very important, to get in details, but I think it would suit us all, I know, especially with time constraints, if we just go line item by line item from the top, and when we get to, one of the lines that need further discussion, we can do that. I think it'll help us with our time. And I can speak to some of the things that we added in here, when we get there, there was some
Okay, then
things.
let's start with line 22, salaries. You've got $771 budgeted for next year. So that, and then you're heavy on the north.
Correct.
So, I have some concerns.
Mayor, I raised that last year.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Rudd, reallocated the CRA manager salary
Right,
to help pay for the, $100,000 grant to heirs to do the master plan. What he said at the time, and I don't know if this is 100%
you two
accurate.
gentlemen,
I'm sorry.
you need to listen please to Commissioner DeVito.
Thank you, ma'am. So what Mr. Rudd said, in the last budget year, when he allocated the salaries heavily toward north and south and less toward central, because, I think I asked a similar question as you, can we do that? Depending on how services are provided, and he said yes. He said as long as some funds came, it did not matter, how we divided it. That is a distinct answer.
But there's not, and that's where I think we need some clarification to make sure there doesn't have to be an equitable share amongst the three.
Right, and that's a good question. That was his answer.
Because there's things on this one that there's not on the other one, like telephone is on this one, it's not on any of the other ones.
Well, and I have a question.
It is now, but it wasn't, so go ahead.
Okay, well, we're going line by line, right?
Yeah.
So,
So we got salaries.
right, so that, I guess Mr. Holmes or whatever would be the one to answer that.
Steve, we cleared our audit with, or no, we didn't wrap up 24 yet, where this type of salary disbursement would have been discussed. Perhaps the auditors may have caught it if it wasn't allowable, is that?
Yeah, correct, we haven't finished up that audit yet, but yeah, if there was an issue, they probably would have let us know.
So,
But even like health insurance, so if you come down to health insurance, you have 0 in the central. You're weighting these over into the north, so you got 10,300 in the north. So I think that's something that needs to be, and I don't think that I think we have to go to, Christina, maybe that's something that you could reach out to the industry and find out. I don't know that Mr. Holmes would have that answer.
that leads to another expense, but it's a good question, I think.
Okay, so I think all of that's gonna roll into the salaries, FICA, pension, health insurance, then we come down to training and education, and we've got 1,500 there, which is, well, same as what it has been.
But so training and education appears to be divided between the CRAs.
Yeah.
And my observation about training and education is, both for staff and for commissioners, I asked this of Mr. Rudd, and he said it was appropriate that if commissioners want to attend the Florida Redevelopment Conference, that it should go here and not necessarily in our general fund training budget, because we are a separate CRA board.
I think that's with the understanding though, that if that's the case, however, our CRA manager, her training should take precedent over ours, so that we need to, again, commissioners, be aware of your cost. So,
Well, I'm
and
just,
that's my understanding too, is that it can come out of this.
Mhm.
It can come out of this, we just need to make sure that before we sign up for anything, that there are the funds available and it doesn't in any way take away from our CRA director.
I would agree, I'm just saying, I think it's worthwhile to provide for the CRA board to also go to a conference and or training, because otherwise we are just not as informed as we should be. I think one year, you and Commissioner Burton and I and Mr. Rudd went to the FRA conference in Daytona Beach.
Daytona.
Right, and then Mr. Rudd and I went to the one in Ponte Vedra / Jacks Beach. So to me, I think it's very worthwhile, because we're bored.
So then we come to travel at 2,000, so we're keeping the travel, and that's hotel and mileage. So that's separate and apart from the registration fees and the training and education. And you've done 2,000 there. Let's see, if you go over to the north, we can take care of that at the same time. You don't have mileage in the north. Car allowance, you have car allowance, but I guess you put 1,000 in there, but you don't have travel. You don't have travel in there. And you don't have travel in the south either, just car allowance. So then we come down to, do we have any other questions there? I think that's,
I have a couple of questions.
yeah, go ahead.
Further down.
On travel, we're on travel
No.
right now.
No,
Are you
no.
good with that?
Go to travel.
Okay, let's go to accounting and auditing. So you've got 4,500 in here. Last year we had nothing that was,
You think traditionally it always been allocated to the central, I'm sorry, to the north, I'm sorry.
no, there was nothing in the north either last year for accounting and auditing. It sounds to me like that, the general fund must have been picking that cost up in the audit. So we need to make sure, check on that if you would.
Well, shouldn't it be, the cost of the audit for the CRA should come out of the CRA?
It should come out of the
That's what
CRA.
I'm saying.
That's why I said check on that, please. So if you need to reallocate those dollars, please do so.
Right, and Mayor, if the costs do not have to be allocated proportionately, I believe it's the North CRA that has,
It's heavy.
so, right, is heavy with funds. If they can be, not completely proportional, then it would make sense to let the North CRA bear as much of the allowable cost as they could for the operation of the CRAs.
Which I think if you look at this current budget, they're already doing that. So,
For everything,
well, for a lot, the salaries, your FICA, your pension, your health insurance, all of that is, when you look at that, like it's weighted, all of the health insurance looks like it's weighted over
in the North.
in the north. So that's something we just have to make sure of, that we have to make sure of. So if we continue to move down, we've got the car allowance, looks like you put that into all three,
Yeah, we took the one sum,
Okay.
just divided amongst the three.
okay? And professional services, that's the 50,000 that you have budgeted, and you have that coming out of the central because Main Street is in the central, within the central CRA.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, is that 50,000 what we're paying, Tim?
Well, we don't pay anything.
That's what we're paying.
We,
Well,
What
CRA,
we're
all
paying
I'm
the
saying is
downtown
that,
partnership,
you know,
they in turn are paying him
Entire amount.
the entire amount.
okay,
because I thought originally they told us that the funds were gonna be split between staff and police, but I guess it doesn't really matter.
That's when they were looking at doing a part-time. I think they were taking that money and they were doing a part-time.
I'm pretty sure that was in the budget they presented to us, but anyway, it's new. I don't know that we specified in there what they could spend it for. It's kind of, we have a contract with them and then they spend the money.
And
but basically we give them the 50K, right?
we give them the 50.
And on a quarterly, we approve it every quarter.
Yeah, every 12/5 or whatever, but You had your hand raised there.
Yes, it's time to, I guess, renegotiate the terms of their contract. So maybe we need to initiate that discussion with them and re-sign our memorandum of understanding. I mean, it's only, through the end of the fiscal year, so we are due to renegotiate that, or at least renew.
So that 50,000 is only spent on professional services, or can it be spent on other things?
At the discretion of the board, I believe.
Okay,
I think the intent from Mr. Rudd in the past was to have that full amount be salary so that they would be able to get an adequate director and professional in that position.
That was the intent, that absolutely was the intent, and that came in the discussion when they decided to go part-time with that, is that that wasn't the intent that was brought to us.
Yes. Now, our memorandum of understanding states that they are to operate, as Commissioner DeVito said, based on the 4-point approach.
Okay.
And the 4-point approach, based on our population, requires a part-time director. So perhaps there's that room for negotiation when we have those discussions. So based on our population, our Main Street program would, a part-time director would be sufficient.
Yeah.
And we would still maintain our status.
So that's something too, that especially if we find that it doesn't, that it can't come out of here, that it has to go out of, it has to come out of our general fund, that, you know, as much as we hate to do that, that might be something that if that's what it's our intent to make sure it's fully staffed, then those requirements would be for a half-time or part-time.
And Mayor, I find it hard to believe that we would have to fund them completely out of the general fund budget because, number one, I think, well, up here where it says we are not allowed to advertise. It's my understanding from the training that I've been in, that we are not allowed to, or that the CRA, yes, the CRA is not allowed to do blanket advertising, but that you can do advertising with relationship to new projects. The same with marketing, that it just can't be a general advertising and marketing program. But I would be very surprised if it's not allowable to fund most of the Main Street expense out of the CRA.
And we need to check on that, because
Yes.
just because a Main Street and CRA are two separate entities.
Yes.
So it just so happens our Main Street runs within our CRA. So there's two different set of rules, so we just need to make sure that the CRA will acknowledge that the Main Street program, that we could fund the Main Street program, our portion, our contribution to the Main Street, if we can fund it out of the, our CRA.
Okay.
Well, most do, and as
And
well.
again, so did most
Right.
do events until that came up at that meeting that you and I were sitting in, and everybody was like, you heard the air go out of the room.
It depends, it depends. There was a lag with, it's the smaller main streets that tend not to get the information because they don't have their own council. What was I gonna say? I just lost my train of thought. We could have a more specific contract that specifies what the money can and can't be used for that we're giving them.
Okay, let's move on to, if we can, to the telephones. We've got the telephone on there, and it looks like you've shared that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Improvement projects, 35,000. We're looking at doing the beautification along and adding to what's already been put out there.
Correct.
Okay.
Possible new benches, we put a note on here, lighting, new signage. But yes, we ended up putting more in there.
Right now, it looks like we've spent nothing out of there for this current year. Is that correct, Christina?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that possibly will be a carryover into next year if we still don't do anything through this end of this fiscal year. Advertising, we've zeroed that out. That's the second year in a row. That's a question, and so that would be, if it's an inaugural advertisement, are we able to do that? So that would be, Just like with the bike fest that they're putting on, if that's something that we could use for that advertising for that.
Inaugural events, yes.
Yep, inaugural events. Any other questions on that as we continue on?
And advertising to inform the public maybe of, grants and things of that nature would be, inapplicable.
Applicable,
Yeah.
okay. Other charges, that's 0. Not even sure what that is. We had 500 last year, zeroed it out. We have another other charges. We had nothing budgeted, zeroed that out. Utility electric,
That seems like a lot.
the $4,200. And that is that,
Wouldn't that be included in shared costs or
that
shared
should be in the
costs
shared cost.
just in admin fee?
Yeah.
I mean,
And it is not in the north, nor is it in the south, so it's all in the central.
Is the telephone for cell phone, or is that?
Should be for
For that?
should be for the cell phone.
Definitely is probably not only cell phones. I know we have a really good deal with our cell phone, service. Steve, does that include our office phone and a cell phone, the line item for telephone?
I'd have to take a look, I believe it just may be the telephone, I'll have to take a
In our
look.
shared cost,
Right.
that should be in shared cost.
I will check with Sheila.
IT support,
Yeah,
that's part of the,
The contracts.
yeah. And again, there's no IT support in the north and the south. IT licenses, now this has the $11,000, is that with Placer AI? Is that, so that's, I mentioned that yesterday, so we don't have to have that. The chamber has contracted with them, and the chamber is willing to share that information with us.
Yes.
So that's what I was,
That needs to come out, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, their contract expires with us the end of the fiscal year, and we are not going to renew because of, as you stated, Mayor, the chamber, has that, and we have access to it via the chamber.
Yeah, apologize, maybe we thought we had taken that out of it.
okay. Operating
Okay,
supplies.
so wait, good news, that's an $11,000 savings.
Yes,
And I'm not sure how that comes under IT licenses.
Because it was on license with an IT company.
Well, it seems,
Placer AI, it was a subscription service.
yeah, but it seems more like, I mean, that seems misleading to me. I thought it was for, I don't know, I don't think that's a very good description.
I don't know where it's what you put it on there.
Professional services, it's a service. I mean, it may be a service that is provided via information technology, but to me, it's a service.
and I think if you want to, I think if we go back up here, professional services, maybe we need to retitle that so that you have 2 different ones, so you would know that what that professional service is, so there's no confusion what that professional service is.
Okay.
And they did put a footnote over here so that anybody that saw that, we had 37.5 for last year. The reason of the increase is because that was a proration. So we have that notated if anybody asked, oh, they went up. No, we didn't. We agreed to that from the get-go. So then let's go down, operating supplies, 500, membership cost, we're keeping that the same. And that is covering everything, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
When you put the 2,000 in there, it looks like in 2023, we spent $1,289. In 2024, $175. That doesn't seem correct. Maybe it's because you took it out of, we're still in central.
Page 2 of my budget.
You didn't put that, so it's nothing, so that doesn't seem correct, Steve, because you don't have it in north and you don't have it in south for membership. So I don't know where that 175 came in for the membership in 2024.
We might have put that back in there just to get it to balance too, so.
Well, not an expenditure, you can't do an unaudited expenditure for 175 if we didn't spend
That's just talking about
175.
Oh,
2024
I'm sorry,
allocation. Check that.
I'm sorry.
Go on, indirect cost allocation, that's 16,000, that's the shared cost, is that correct?
So
And you haven't done any of those transfers yet, so that's why it's showing 0. Okay. Housing rehabilitation grants, we had 15,000 last year, we budgeted for 12,500, bringing it down 2,500. Christina, this is in our central,
I'm comfortable with that for
For the
the
central?
housing, of course, this area is more commercial heavy, so I'm comfortable with that for residential.
And just point out that nobody has, we haven't spent any of that.
Well, that's a problem. This is a problem.
we remember the year prior, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You're fine.
No, go ahead. The year prior, we did go out, we had some that applied, we had the house, on Main Street, Veronica Glover's family's home that had caught on fire, that they had asked for some assistance, and through much investigation and determined that it would be very difficult to do much with that house. We also had the duplex that we looked at when we did the tour of that, and the duplex, they ended up demolishing the duplex.
Wait a minute, you mean the one on East Grand Rondo?
Yes.
40 East Grand Rondo, right, the homeowner, that's Veronica Glover's cousin. Their family owned that piece, I
Like
think.
with her sister, but.
Right, and then for 19 Cedar Street, we funded repairs and painting for that house. There are other structures there that are historic structures, and one of them, I think is being rented and is a residence next to North Main Street, Veronica Glover's, and that house is in desperate need of repair.
Is that the 2-story?
It is a 2-story, and it is a contributing structure in the historic district. I think it is a historic. No,
No,
in
it's
the
the
very
one right
first
here on
block.
the corner, right here across from Shepherd's.
Oh, okay.
The couple came in and
Oh,
bought
yeah.
that, the couple came in and bought that, and they've been working on it, so.
There are a couple of residences down there that are greatly in need of assistance.
Well, there's money there.
And also, just as you all are aware, if there is a code violation on any of the homes, or if they're in arrears for their taxes, they're not eligible for a CRA grant. Now, I would like to state also Mr. Millard's window grant that you all recently awarded this last fiscal year. That could be taken out of our housing rehab fund, because it is in fact for the residential
Upstairs.
property. So I think it would be applicable to that line item versus our regular facade grant program.
Okay, and that would be, his was what, 17, we've got 15 in there, so that would put more back into that.
So our,
I think maybe
year-to-date actual,
reallocate those, yeah.
yes.
Wait, we take it out of the residential?
No, take it out of the redevelopment grant and put it into the residential, the portion that it can cover.
Right,
So it was 17 plus,
I think 17.5, if my memory serves me correct.
and we had 15 available in there.
Yeah,
So you're saying that would wipe out the 15 for the year?
That
For
would
this
wipe out
fiscal
the 15
year.
for the year, but it would also add back into our grants, our redevelopment grants. It would add the 15 back into the redevelopment grants.
Okay, and I'd like to make a couple of observations. It's my understanding now that we are required to report to the state of Florida on what we have done for our CRAs every year compared to our budget and our plan. Is that not correct?
yeah, that's correct.
And when was the last report turned in?
January?
Okay, so,
I just read that somewhere. I just found that somewhere and read it.
right, and was that circulated to the commission, do you recall?
I believe it was, and it was posted to our website, and
Okay. Because, and the reason for the report is that the legislature wants to see that we are using our,
Adhering to, right?
well, that we are actually making improvements with our CRA, that our CRA is, eliminating slum and blight. So there's that. My comment on the grant programs is we don't have a lot of money available in the central CRA, and we have, a lot of need. And what some CRAs are doing, both county and city, they are not giving outright grants, they are doing loans. And some of them structure the loans where, the city pays the interest and the recipient pays back the principal. So it creates kind of a revolving fund. Some of the funds get returned. I think that's a good model. It makes sure that there's an element of fairness there. The property owner is responsible for some of the cost, and it stretches the dollars to go farther. Because when you put money out, some of it is then coming back in. So that's one way to stretch our funds, because we have pretty great needs.
Are you aware of that program? Our CRA manager, are you aware of the program that she was just talking about?
No.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
it's a way that if you go and look at other CRAs and what's in their budget and what they do, I don't know how I became aware of it, but I picked it up somewhere, and there's
Well,
more than one CRA that does that.
if you would provide, any of that contact
Yeah,
to Christina so that she
has an understanding of it.
so she understands that too, and if that's something that we're able to do, then we should look into it, just to see if it's applicable to us.
No reason why not. Well, I did give it to Charles Rudd,
Okay,
and he told me that he wasn't interested.
well,
That's how far that went. But I gave him the information.
okay, that's fine, he's not here now.
But, right, so I'm.
Let's move on, so,
But Mayor, hang on, so we have, $11,000 in IT licenses.
we've already talked about that, we've taken 10,000 of that out, because that's the Placer AI.
Okay, so my question is, where it's in the budgeted amount, so that is $10,000 that we can put somewhere else.
Additional that we could put into our grants.
Well, we could put it into our grants, but speaking of grants, I think at a recent meeting, Commissioner Moore brought up the subject of grants. It is my strong feeling that given our limited resources, we need to be looking not just at giving out our limited money, but what we can do to bring money in. And if the $10,000 from the central CRA could be combined with some funds from the other CRAs, we might want to look at spending that on a grant writer or a researcher who can figure out whether there are grants available to our CRA.
You know, I have heard this for 4 years, we have now we have two grants, grant writers. And so at what point do we just say we've got grant writers and task them with doing such?
Well, that's.
But we don't
That's the problem.
I know we don't pay them, but that's part of the grant, if they, oftentimes that could be part of the grant, that they get paid through that. And so I think that that's something that we need, especially is, what's the secondary company, the second company?
Guardian.
Guardian.
They also were supposed to have a meeting with us and talk to us about our capital needs and what we wanted.
So,
And I don't think that's ever happened.
this is something that our staff is adamantly working on. I recently tasked all of the department heads to find out what grants are in their purview and what we can go after, and that was the reason I had the meeting set up, but we ran over. I'm working on the budget, so we couldn't do the meeting yesterday, but I have a call into Melissa Fox, and we're gonna start with them, and then we'll go to Guardian, but that's.
But again, the whole reason we went with Guardian, the whole reason we went with the second grant company is because staff did not have that time, did not have those resources at their fingertips, and we were looking to a grant writing company that could do that for them.
Okay.
So that because they don't, I mean, yes, Christine.
I initiated contact with Guardian about, probably 7 weeks, 8 weeks, like 7 weeks ago. And, they were gonna they wanna meet with us, discuss with us and see what our needs are, and they will work on finding grants for us. Of course, there's a fee for it, but we've engaged with them already, so why not utilize them?
Yeah, absolutely, that's what I'm saying, that's what, we've got that company, I mean, I didn't say that, but that's what that was my intent of my comments, is that we've got that company, let's ask them to perform.
Okay, and Mayor, just to clarify, will they look at all grants and then let us know if there's something we would have to pay them to go after?
They should,
Okay,
they should.
I just want to make sure, because it's quite a while since they did their presentation. Fred Cox really only handles grants that he will be paid
Right.
from. He does not expect that, but Guardian, I think it's my recollection that they will just look at the universe, and if there's something that they feel they would need compensation for to prepare the grant, they will let us know. But that is very expensive. So, okay, so your suggestion is that we take the $10,000 that was spent on Placer and distribute it to put that into our grant program.
Put that into our grant program for right now.
And I will definitely regather info on
Okay.
loan programs.
Okay, let's move on to the north if we can. We've already pretty much covered this north, all the way down to, really, this is something to our accounting. What are the professional services, that would be the appraisal surveys, renderings that we have, is that correct?
That's what it sounds.
Um,
We haven't spent any, but
we haven't done that, but I know in the past, we've had to get the renderings for some of these grant proposals that we've had. You know, they had renderings down here on Central, we've had it for down on the north, we had it for the Save-A-Lot, you know, so that we could bring that, and so those do cost. So I guess that's what that comes under. Is that correct, Christina?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And, our north CRA section should be a little more active in the upcoming fiscal year. I've been in communications with the Save-A-Lot Plaza, and they're diligently recruiting tenants. I've met with some potential tenants who've expressed concerns about their costs for build out and things of that nature. So I'm hoping with the north that maybe I can bring before you next fiscal year some tenant improvement projects, things of that nature.
and that's where we have all this money in the redevelopment grants.
Yes.
Correct.
It's not, I mean, I'm all for spending it if it's been some deposit,
Mhm.
and find some businesses in there.
Yeah, because I think the office supply, isn't the office supply leaving there?
Yes.
So that's a large, Spanky's left, so, I mean, except for the laundromat, Family Dollar and Save-A-Lot, that's all they have in there now, and I know that they
They're actively recruiting tenants. There's a lot of discussions going on, even for their health parcels in the
Okay.
parking lot. And the Duncan project is still underway and under negotiation. So even though that's not the same owners of Save-A-Lot, that will be an active parcel. So once Duncan's there, of course, we're hoping that there'll be a chain reaction. The owners are in discussions with other fast food chains at the moment for those parcels.
okay.
Be great to get some.
I'm not at liberty to discuss any of those details because the leases and
Right.
terms of the contract aren't done.
Right.
You know, if we can help with some of the facade grants and stuff like that plaza, then it would be great.
It will
And
be
we still have it earmarked for, how much do we have earmarked for lot size?
17-1.
17.1, so
That's north.
that's
Yes.
north.
And we're short of time, but it would be helpful if we could have like an updated report that could just be passed out in writing on where Rockside or anybody else is.
We did at the last meeting, I think we talked about that, the lot size trying to work out immigration issues before they can come back through.
That was a while back.
No, that was like, I think I reported on that last meeting, on the meeting before, that they're trying to work that out, because they were hoping to be back and be up and running by August, and that didn't happen, and they still have landscaping that they're trying to take care of.
Well, I guess
So that's the update there.
okay, my observation is we seem to have sufficient funds in the north CRA to help Blockside a little more if they need. And then I had a question about don't we have housing rehabilitation grants?
We do, and if you look, there's 25, we had 55 last year, we have 20, we've dropped it down. Christina, are you in support of that, dropping that down $30,000 from the 55? I know you were looking at the homes over on Grove, are those the only homes that are really applicable in the
Yes,
north?
ma'am. Those are targeted on our targeted list.
They're on our targeted
So
list.
those are a priority, even though, a couple of the identified properties on that list are not in need of repair. They actually look,
Okay.
one home looks very nice and the one is a vacant lot. But, I'm comfortable with that for the residential portion and, think that it's good that we're heavier in the redevelopment, in the actual grant line for our commercial properties.
Okay.
That we're given for
Yeah, we can always
education.
move some over if we need to.
Okay, but wait a minute, where do we stand? We allocated $55,000, but we did not spend any. What was the impediment for spending any of the funds?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
On
Why
housing,
haven't
like
we expended, why haven't we expended any, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Well, during this fiscal year, we have
Had a lot going on.
we've had a lot going on, and since Mr. Rudd left and Michael Brillhart came over, I was working very closely with Mr. Brillhart and getting up to par with all of the city business, and really didn't have the, time to pursue those residential
Okay,
projects
so-
like I normally would.
in other words, it wasn't that the owners aren't eligible or interested. We just haven't had the staff time to pursue it.
I haven't solicited them, and no
Okay.
owners have, come forward.
Well, I mean, just quite frankly, that area is of significant concern. There's some very substandard houses there that I think Mr. Rudd was concerned about, and I think it would help the neighborhood. I mean, I'm not sure that we should be reducing the amount because there is a lot of need. It's a blight to that particular area, and I think it needs attention. I mean, people are telling me there's safety
We'll
issues.
start with that and we'll go.
Yeah, I think for right now, for the budget, for budgetary, and Commissioner Lori said that if she does find, because remember, keep in mind too, that they can't be under, they can't have any liens against them, no violations, and it has to be voluntary. It's not something we can go into, so for right now, if she runs into that, then she can always come back in and ask us to readjust accordingly.
Okay, but we're somehow, it's not really effective just to say we can't address this issue because there's code violations.
I didn't
That is.
say that, I didn't say
Well,
that.
that's the summary of it.
That's not, don't
Okay.
summarize what I say.
Okay,
I
what,
did not say that. What I said is those homes, number one, have to be voluntary
yes,
for us to do anything. Number
Yes.
two is if there are any code violations, they would not qualify. Okay, so we don't know if those homes are or not. And number three, if she finds that she has those that want something done and it exceeds this amount, then she can always come back to the commission. But from a budgetary standpoint right now, we've got to move forward.
right, but I will just share this with you, and this is something that I learned from going to conferences. Successful CRAs clear slum and blight by being proactive. They work with their code enforcement officer, they offer people incentives, they find a way to get slum and blight clear. And I think that if we're really going to make an effective CRA program for clearing slum and blight, then we have to put some creativity to it and,
Okay.
Can I
I think
ask
we
one
got,
question?
I think we get that. Yes.
Are these funds for the grants at 50% match share from the owners as well?
If it's not targeted, if it's targeted, no.
Okay, so
Correct,
target, no.
Christina, if it's targeted, it's 100%. If it's not targeted, it's a 50, it's a shared cost. It's a match.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification.
right, and we set the qualifications. If they need to change in order to make improvements effective, then we can do that.
Okay, so let's go down. So we've gotten our redevelopment grant. So right now, we're budgeting $223.99. And so we've already talked about, you know, all the things that are gonna come out of that, the $1,000 advertising the CRA programs. Again, that's what Christina said, is that, you know, when we advertise to the homeowners, when we advertise to the businesses, that's where that money can come out of. Do we have anything else on that? North CRA miscellaneous expenses, we have 0. Other, we have budgeted 1,000, we had budgeted 1,000 last year, and 0. I don't understand what other is.
I think that's a placeholder for extra funds miscellaneous use. I'm not 100% sure, but that's probably why it wasn't used.
That should have been miscellaneous expenses, North CRA miscellaneous expenses. So other is always, I don't like others.
I agree. We'll put it up to the miscellaneous expenses and delete the other.
Indirect cost allocation, that's the shared cost.
Yes.
Okay, do we have any other questions on our north before we move to our south? Anything? Okay, let's go to our south. Again, we've already talked about salaries. We go down here to training and education. We've got 1,000 in there that we still have. Other, again, 1,400. We expended nothing. I'm not sure what that 1,400 is.
It's like another
Please,
miscellaneous.
if you would look into that, Steve, okay. Improvement projects, we've got 16, we expended none, we've got 18, 22, 2, and that's gonna be for landscaping. You're looking to do some wayfinding here, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. So you're comfortable with that amount, Christina?
yes.
Car allowance, so we put a car allowance, we've shared that cost. Telephone, we're sharing that cost, but you're still gonna verify the 667 across the board is how much, what that applies to, if that's telephone.
Correct, you're what it is.
Professional services, we've upped it from 2,000 to 3,500. And then redevelopment grants, 27 to and so with this redevelopment grants, we have no targeted housing. We don't have, do we even have in the
In the south side,
Yeah,
there's
there should
rental
be.
housing, there's housing. For sure.
We have to make sure it's within the CRA boundaries, because some of those are cut out, so we have to figure out which one's cut out.
Okay,
So is the one you're talking about by the Methodist church, is that the area you're talking about?
between the Methodist Church and Eagle Park.
Yeah.
That whole block on the west side towards Lake Stella is pretty much residential. And there is, I don't know who owns it, the first 2 homes closest to Eagle are owner occupied, they're in pretty good shape. There is a significant 2-story historical looking structure on the north side. Is that whole block in the South CRA?
On the west side?
Yes, I think it is because,
Yeah,
I'm not sure, because, you know, El Amigos and Baja, they're not, they're opted out from from Lemon down, I believe, is opted out.
okay, but, the last I heard, the residents catty corner from me, actually directly catty corner from Toby and Ricky Smith on the corner of Myrtle and South Main.
Yeah.
That was in there. So if we could get some clarification on,
Let's just get our boundaries, if we can just have our boundaries for right now, keep it the way it is, and if there are some residential and we determine when we finalize this that we need to move some into that, then we can.
right, because, I don't think there's a few, and as well, there's one on the corner. It would be helpful to know that.
That's residential, so, okay, so for right now, we're gonna keep it the way it is. Do we have any other questions with that? And then
and the way that it,
That's central. Okay,
Yes.
The way it's listed as redevelopment grants, I think it could be universal, commercial, or residential. We don't have a, so.
Because the
that's
South Sierra,
recommended in the south.
Sierra
where
goes
does
up,
that start?
it's across there, that's the campground. And then across the street, and then up this 2 blocks here, which would be like Chestnut or something. I don't know why,
Okay.
so there's housing there, but that's it, there's 2 blocks there.
Okay, what's that cross street? This is below, that looks
That
like
one's
lemon or
yeah,
orange.
it's
That's
more lemon.
orange, so you have
Okay.
orange, and then,
That's just
like they've opted out, so they're opted out, the whole car
Right.
wash, he's opted out.
Yeah, everything on that, yeah.
Okay, but what,
So it's like 1 block off of 17, so it's like,
okay, can you hold that up?
Can we,
So, okay, what Commissioner Roy is showing me is that the area that I had identified is actually the residential area 1 block south of,
in the central.
the 200 block of US 17, that's Central CRA. And the South CRA is actually very small, it's got
Yes.
a little strip of Highway 17 that starts either at orange or lemon,
It's
maybe
lemon.
orange.
That's
But
lemon.
it's lemon and
So
it's
everything south of lemon,
everything,
there's just a little strip there.
to Reed or Junction Road
okay.
on 17.
Yeah.
So again, when we go through this, we'll make sure we have the boundary maps, so that we can see that, okay?
Okay.
So indirect cost allocation, that's the shared cost, and then of course, the ARPA projects, that's zeroed out, because that doesn't apply. Okay, do we have any other questions in our CRA at this time? Got some clarification you're gonna have to do for budget before you bring us a final, or a proposed final.
Yes.
Do we have any other questions?
No, I just have an observation that if we have available funds and they don't have to be strictly allocated between the CRAs, it really might benefit us to find us an attorney with CRA expertise and get him to answer a few questions for us.
I made a note to get a hold of Don, he may know somebody that he
Okay.
can recommend.
Well, the Florida Redevelopment Association,
Yeah,
absolutely.
They would have, they have ample expertise.
And resource, I mean, they don't have anyone on staff, but they will tell you who's the CRA.
So as we're going through this though, the one thing that we do have, that if we wanted to bring this commission, we had the emergency purchase possible. Do you think we need to try to do that here, or do you want us to do that at the next Tuesday's agenda?
I definitely wanna go through these minutes and get these past us, if it doesn't take long, I would love the permission to move forward with the $1,600, if that's something we can do now, I can also bring it up in the agenda, it's up to this commission.
What is it for?
$1,600 and I just,
That's for the fire,
Right,
the fire.
the air
equipment.
compressor, yeah. I'm pretty sure we can get him to put it on hold. That's my main thing that I tasked Keith was just tell him, don't sell it. It's coming to us, so we have time. I would love to move on to the minutes to move forward with that.
Okay, so with that, I'm gonna go ahead and if there's nothing else,
Motion to adjourn.
a motion to adjourn this meeting,
So moved.
okay? Do I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, this meeting is adjourned. We're going to go ahead and call to order.
Mayor,
Yes,
the clerk needs 5 minutes to transition between meetings.
okay.
Okay, good.
We got 5 minutes.
Have you called sandwich request?
Do it. Yep, you absolutely can. Inhale it.
Well,
Christina.